Chapter 1649. Since the Buddha's heart is there, I am Buddha. This was also the principle of using the mortal world as a furnace to forge one's Buddhist heart. Xiaochen was enlightened. His blocked thoughts were like a broken river, surging violently. The Mahamaya abstinence violation saber techniques breaking the mundane circulated in Xiaochen's mind. His thoughts wandered as if he was enlightened. In the captain's cabin, Xiaochen unfurled the scroll and studied it carefully again. After a while, the monk brandished the Buddhist commandment blade in his hand under the gaze of the killing Buddha statue. Saber light shot out in all directions. The originally cold and emotionless saber light turned cold. There was a hint of gentleness in her voice. The various worldly affairs were like a painting slowly unfolding in the saber light that filled the sky. Break. When the saber light was brandished to its peak, everything, including the scenes of the mortal world, came to an abrupt end. The gigantic Buddha statue gave off a golden light and suddenly came to life. A purple gold-glazed Buddhist commandment blade appeared in the Buddha statue's hand and stabbed forward. The saber light coincided with the saber in the monk's hand. It was as if it had leaped out of a painting and pierced Xiaochen, who was observing. This was not the end. This saber strike that severed the worldly affairs was not the end. The monk sat cross-legged in midair. A swastika appeared on his glabella and spun continuously. The obsession of the secular world that had just been severed by the saber reappeared, one after another. The joys and sorrows of the world, the joys and sorrows of the reunion, the joys and sorrows of the world. Slowly, a flame appeared on the monk's body and the entire world started burning. As the flames burned, the swastika on Xiaochen's forehead grew brighter. Golden light blossomed, and Buddhist might spread out. Accompanying it was a domineering aura similar to the Vajra Dharma of Buddhism, as well as a rare murderous aura. With the mortal world as a furnace, I forge my Buddhist heart. Xiaochen was overjoyed. He quickly put away the scroll and started cultivating again. The scene that he had just witnessed was something that he had never seen before. This was the true meaning of breaking the mortal world. Breaking the precepts, breaking the peace, using the mortal world as a furnace to forge one's Buddhist heart. Since the Buddha's heart was there, it didn't matter whether it was broken or not. With this in mind, Xiaochen no longer entangled himself with his past obsessions. He could go ahead and cut off the obsessions in his heart with ease. Suddenly, images of Xiaochen's past appeared in the captain's cabin. There was his youthful face when he was in Mo City, the peaceful times he spent with Lu Ruyue in Qingyan Peak, and the Kunlun realm's demonic calamity. Almost no one in the same generation could compare to him in terms of all the things he had experienced in the mortal world. Break. As more and more images appeared in the mortal world, until there were no more, Xiaochen let out a roar in his heart. Everything disappeared like a clap of thunder, scattering the fog. A moment later, everything reappeared, turning into flames that burned fiercely. As the flames bathed Xiaochen's body, he felt a warmth. Buddhist chants filled his ears, and the various mysterious phenomena on his body became increasingly similar to the monk in the painting. The only thing missing was the swastika between his eyebrows. This was because the Buddha heart had not been tempered yet. After all, he was not an eminent monk. If he wanted to temper the Buddha heart, it would take some time. In the blink of an eye, 1 month passed. They would arrive at the Black Cave Mountain in the Three Blessed Lands in another 7 days. The journey was calm and peaceful. There were no major setbacks. The crew on the ship slowly relaxed. Inside the captain's cabin, Xiaochen remained in closed-door cultivation, not coming out at all. For 1 month, the swastika finally appeared on his forehead. However, it was not very bright yet, nor was it as dazzling as before. However, Xiaochen completely grasped the true meaning of this breaking the mundane. He managed to do what Senior Tang thought was impossible. Without grasping the true meaning, this breaking the mundane was just a formality, unable to bring out its true might. Take the skeleton dragon Star Venerate for example. When he went all out, he could only bring out 20% of its might. After all, he was a Star Venerate, but that was all he could do. However, as a half-step primal core cultivator, Xiaochen could easily bring out 20% of the skeleton dragon Star Venerate's might. This was the difference between grasping the true meaning and not grasping the true meaning. More importantly, Only by grasping the true meaning could one integrate it. Only then could one reverse the source and comprehend the Gautama divine palm that the hidden spirit temple grasped. Satisfied, Xiaochun withdrew his technique and revealed a smile. However, before this smile could spread, it froze. The black lotus mark on Xiaochun's chest throbbed, and he felt a burning sensation. The rope holding the Buddhist pendant snapped with a buzz. The Buddhist pendant floated quietly in front of Xiaochun's chest, and cracks appeared on it. Xiaochun's face sank. He reached out and grabbed the Buddhist pendant. Then, with a few flashes, he arrived on the deck. This was a feeling that Xiaochun had never felt before. It was not that he had never been chased by the Black Lotus Church before. However, his reaction had never been this intense. What kind of enemy is this strong? An intense sense of danger spread in Xiaochun's heart. As he stood on the deck, Xiaochun looked to the front. Xiaochun's expression turned grave. It looked like the Black Lotus Church had found his destination, and had been waiting for him for a long time. Or rather, the Black Lotus Church had set up an ambush at the places that one had to pass to reach the blessed lands. Damn it! Who leaked information about me? Or was I not cautious enough and exposed some clues? Why did these people from the Black Lotus Church chase me all the way to the Grave Sea? Why are they still waiting here? I thought that I managed to shake them off in Purple Sun City. Brat, why is your complexion so ridiculously bad? Your aura seems even steadier. I wonder what kind of eruption you will have once you advance to the primal core realm. It does not seem like something went wrong with your cultivation. On the deck, the Iron Hand Yama, who had already recovered his strength long ago, did not leave, remaining on the ship. Upon seeing the Iron Hand Yama, Xiaochun's expression warmed slightly. However, the worry on his face did not vanish. What is the point of telling me or not? After replying, Xiaochun turned around and headed for the control room. As the Iron Hand Yama watched Xiaochun rush off, he gulped down a mouthful of wine. His lips twitched as he said, "Brat, even if you don't say it, this old man can guess it. Just look at that scowling face. An enemy is definitely here." Then the Iron Hand Yama looked in the direction that Xiaochun had looked, and his expression turned strange. The Iron Hand Yama shook the wine bottle in his hand. There was no more wine left. As he stared at the empty bottle, he entered deep thought. Inside the control room, Xiaochun gathered everyone together. Then he looked at Xiao Sua with a complicated expression. "Captain, don't look at me like that. I feel strange." Xiao Sua felt that something was wrong. He said, "Captain, if you have something to say, just say it." Xiaochun smiled casually and said, "It's fine. Do you still remember what I said to you in the past?" "What did you say?" Xiaochun looked straight at the other party and said seriously, "I said long ago that this ship would be yours sooner or later. I cannot sink too deep into the path of piracy." When Xiao Sua heard that, his heart skipped a beat. He felt somewhat excited and nervous. "You are leaving?" "Yes. There are still 7 more days before I reach the blessed land. If nothing unexpected happens, I should run into a senior and cultivate there for a while. Then I will head to my true destination." Xiaochun showed a relaxed expression, showing no change in it. This news shocked Luonan and Fei leaving them gaping. This was simply too unexpected. Previously, there had been no sign of this at all. "Captain, you never mentioned it before. This is too sudden," Luonan said, feeling confused. Xiaochun smiled and said, "It's not really sudden. I was in closed-door cultivation and thought about it for a long time." Fei's eyes turned red, somewhat unable to accept this. "But big brother Xiaochun, Fei can't bear to part with you." "Indeed. Captain, we can't bear to part with you. Let us wait for you. Give us a time." "No, there's no need for a time. Just say it. We are all willing to wait for you." The core crew of the ship felt somewhat reluctant to part with Xiaochun's sudden departure, finding it hard to accept. Xiaochun felt warmth in his heart. He forcefully endured the gratitude in his heart and smiled. "I can't bear to part with you either. However, all good things must come to an end. Everyone has their own fate. Furthermore, although this starry sea is vast and boundless, it might not be impossible for us to meet again." After saying that, Xiaochun looked at Elder Tang, who had not said anything since the start, showing a suspicious expression. Then, Xiaochen extended a finger and tapped Elder Tang's forehead. Crack. The scarlet restriction in the depths of Elder Tang's soul, which made him unable to eat or sleep in peace, disappeared. Elder Tang felt like he was relieved of a heavy burden. As he looked at Xiaochen, he opened his mouth to say something. However, Xiaochen's gaze stopped him. Elder Tang has suffered during this period of time. Xiaochen smiled in understanding. Then he performed a cupped fist salute and said, "Everyone, we will meet again in the future." The black lotus mark on Xiaochen's chest burned even more intensely, suppressing the reluctance in his heart. His figure flashed a few times, and he quickly left. "Captain!" The others quickly gave chase. When they reached the deck, they could only see Xiaochen's back. Xiao Suo looked at the captain's medallion that Xiaochen handed him in his hand. He felt that everything was too sudden. He muttered, "What's wrong? I keep feeling that something is wrong." Luo Nan, Fei and the others continued to look into the distance. As they watched Xiaochen's departing figure, they were filled with reluctance. The iron hand Yama shook the wine bottle in boredom. However, he could not pour out even a drop of the 1,000-year flame. How unfortunate. I won't be able to drink such good wine in the future. After that, the iron hand Yama looked at the people beside him and said helplessly, "I say, you bunch of fools. Can't anyone tell that he ran away on his own so as not to implicate you?" "What?" Everyone was greatly startled, looking at the iron hand Yama in disbelief. Chapter 1650. Even the Buddhist amulet cracked. Xiaochen definitely could not dodge. He could only face it head-on and seek a chance at survival. That was right. After giving instructions, Xiaochen did not resign himself to his fate. As long as there was a chance, he would fight for it with all his might, never giving up. There was absolutely no compromise without reason in Xiaochen's life motto. The black lotus mark on his chest made him feel that he was getting closer to the other party. After a while, Xiaochen looked up and saw a black ship in front. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. 8 or 9 figures escorted a middle-aged monk in gray monk robes and kasaya from the ship. They soared into the air and quickly flew toward Xiaochen. The figure landed on the sea, and a black lotus rose up, carrying the group of people. Like flickering light and passing shadows, they arrived before Xiaochen in the blink of an eye. A soul-level pressure pressed down. That middle-aged monk in the kasaya raised his head and locked his gaze on Xiaochen. Whoosh! Xiaochen's gaze was like a sharp sword light, moving even faster than lightning. This gaze carried a strong wind, kicking up waves around Xiaochen. In Xiaochen's eyes, time seemed to slow down. He could see every drop of water in the waves. He could see a sharp light rushing over. In the time it took for a spark to fly, Xiaochen gently twisted his head and dodged the sharp light. In that instant, his long hair fluttered about for no reason. A strand of his fine black hair was cut in half and slowly fell to the ground. Xiaochen. The short probing ended in a breath of time. Then that middle-aged monk asked somewhat uncertainly. Xiaochen did not say anything. Based on what he knew, this middle-aged monk before him should be one of the 4 protectors under the Black Lotus Church's churchmaster. As for those black-clad arhats, Xiaochen was rather familiar with them. He had seen their strength in Purple Sun City. Each of the protectors was a Cloud Sea cultivator, incredibly strong. Xiaochen entered deep thought. The other paths to the Blessed Lands probably had their people waiting there as well. No matter which path Xiaochen took, he would not be able to avoid being discovered in the end. They thought highly of Xiaochen, directly sending protectors with the strength of a star venerate to block him. No wonder his Buddhist amulet shattered. It turned out that someone from the Cloud Sea realm had come. Although Xiaochen was only a Starry Sky realm star venerate, he was not someone that Xiaochen could block. Even if the entire Black Cutlass brought out all its trump cards, it would not be able to block him. It seemed that his decision was correct. Tell me, you are obviously very weak, so why does the sect master value you so much? The Vajra protector said coldly as he looked straight at Xiaochen. Naturally, Xiaochen did not know the answer to this question. He said indifferently, "Who knows? What are you bald donkeys thinking? Even after I left the Kunlun realm, you are still chasing me to death. Evil creature, you still dare to speak rudely. Right after he spoke, the protector charged over like lightning. He was incredibly fast, leaving behind countless flickering afterimages. He stretched out his arms, and his wide sleeves spread out like a goshawk spreading its wings. It formed a perfect whole with the surging starry sea, the quietly drifting sea breeze, and the rippling light and shadows on the surface of the sea. Be it the position, angle, or posture, they were all extremely harmonious. It was like he was bringing this world with him as he flew over. Suddenly, Xiaochen felt rejected by the seawater, the sunlight, the gentle breeze, and the light and shadows. It was like there was no place for him in the vast world. This was an indescribable feeling. This was another understanding of the Cloud Sea realm's state of being one with nature. Then, it manifested itself in actual combat. A clash of auras, a struggle of the mind. When the other party got close and landed his palm strike, the void became increasingly larger. It was like he did not put any force into it, making it extremely unbearable. This was an obvious characteristic of the Buddhist sect's Dhyana Dao palm technique. Bang! Xiaochen stabilized his mind and threw a palm strike, barely catching it. With just a slight contact, he was knocked back. He did not even have time to bring out a tenth of his vital qi and veritable essence energy. Fast. Heavy. Ruthless. In the air, Xiaochen vomited a large mouthful of blood, unable to retaliate at all. This was not a fight on the same level at all. It was no different from an adult beating up a baby. On the other hand, the other party had to be careful, not daring to use too much force lest he accidentally beat himself to death. In the other party's eyes, all of Xiaochen's means would be like a baby dancing with the sword, a joke. Buzz. Suddenly, countless stars appeared in the protector's eyes. A power that came from the depths of his soul appeared. Suddenly, the surrounding space froze. Xiaochen, who was in midair, strangely came to a stop. He could not move at all. At this moment, the countless water droplets in the air also turned crystalline. Every drop appeared perfectly in the air, reflecting all sorts of lights. The stars in the protector's eyes flickered. He showed a cold and emotionless expression as he stretched out his hand. Then, Xiaochen's body flew towards him for no reason. However, the countless crystalline water droplets in the air remained motionless. Damn it! Hatred surged in Xiaochen's heart. If there was an opportunity, he, Xiaochen, would definitely repay the Black Lotus Church 100-fold. He would not go back on his word. Be it bringing the demonic calamity, severely injuring the Kunlun realm, or repeatedly attacking him, the Black Lotus Church would never let him off the hook. Xiaochen's hatred with the Black Lotus Church was irreconcilable. Boom! After Xiaochen was pulled back, the protector sent him flying with a palm strike, and the stars in his eyes vanished. At this moment, the force-binding space also disappeared. Xiaochen's body crashed into the sea along with the seawater. Blood leaked out of Xiaochen's mouth continuously. He felt incredible pain in his chest. All the bones in his body felt like they had shattered. You dare to be so rude with just this bit of strength? I did not even use 20% of my strength. This Buddha is asking you, do you still dare to do so? What a despicable mouth. The protector snorted coldly, revealing a disdainful expression. Interesting. I have seen fools before. Unexpectedly, the Black Lotus Church's star venerate is also this stupid. Since I dared to come here alone, naturally, I am prepared to die. Are these bald donkeys really brainless? Xiaochen did not fear death. At this moment he felt calm. He only felt that it was a pity. There were still many things that he wanted to do and people that he wanted to meet. However, it was worth it. Xiaochen thought about the reluctance of the Black Cutlass's crew before he left. At the very least, there were people who treated Xiaochen sincerely in this great thousand realms. Although the mundane world was bitter, there were people who cherished him and understood him. You overestimate yourself. The protector snorted coldly. Then he stretched out his hand, and the surrounding space froze again. Countless water droplets froze in space again. Then the suction slowly pulled Xiaochen's body over. Despite facing such adversity, Xiaochen's expression remained calm. As he looked at the protector, he did not show any fear at all. Breaking the mundane, which contained a true intent, was sufficient to injure the other party. The protector was looking for an opportunity. He wanted to find the most suitable opportunity to strike the other party at his peak. Even if he could only injure the other party, it would be worth it. Even if he died, he wanted to let the other party know that he, Xiao Chun, was not a pushover without any dignity. Boom. However, just as Xiao Chun was about to attack, every drop of seawater in the surrounding space suddenly exploded. This part of the world was invaded by a powerful force, and then brutally destroyed. Suddenly, a figure landed behind Xiao Chun. By the time the protector reacted, a figure had appeared behind Xiao Chun. Before the protector could react, the protector grabbed Xiao Chun and retreated at lightning speed. When Xiao Chun turned his head and saw that face, he revealed a horrified expression. It was the Iron Hand Yama. This ferocious-looking pirate, who had been cursing at everyone after boarding the ship, actually made a move to save Xiao Chun. Don't be shocked. The moment you raised your tail, I knew what you were thinking. Brat, you have guts. Even though I cannot save the brothers of the Savage Blood Pirate Group, this old me, the Iron Hand Yama, will definitely save your life. He looked behind him and saw a pirate ship rushing over quickly with its sails raised. It was the Black Cutlass. An old man holding a flute stood on a tortoise beast in front, and behind the Black Cutlass. That was the beast's governing sex, Elder Tang. In the air, Luo Nan and Fei flew over with sullen expressions on the backs of two cold steel eagles. They were all here. All the people that Xiao Chun chose to abandon were here. No matter who it is, if anyone dares to touch our captain, the Black Cutlass will fight to the death. There are no cowards on the Black Cutlass. Xiao Sua's somewhat maniacal roar came from the surface of the sea. Without exception, everyone on the Black Cutlass charged over. Even though they knew that Xiao Chun would face the Cloud Sea Star Venerate, they would not retreat. As Xiao Sua said, there were no cowards on the Black Cutlass. They lived and died together, advancing and retreating together. Chapter 1651. The disheartened Xiao Chun had not expected that everyone on the Black Cutlass would rush over without exception, including the Iron Hand Yama. Previously, Xiao Chun had not considered the Iron Hand Yama a part of the Black Cutlass. In that case, with the combined power of the Black Cutlass, they might be able to hold their own, even though the outcome would still be uncertain. However, there was a huge difference between having the strength to fight and being beaten up passively. The sudden scene caused the protector's expression to sink. He looked coldly at the Iron Hand Yama and said, "Just you alone, and you dare to be impudent before me? How reckless." As soon as he finished speaking, he sent out a palm strike that seemed to be as light as a feather. The Iron Hand Arhut did not dare to be careless. He pushed Xiao Chun away, and a red light burst out of his body, filling the sky with a murderous aura. He took a step forward and took the palm strike head-on. Boom. The two palms collided, and a loud explosion rang out. Thousands of layers of waves shot out from the place where the two clashed. A strong wind blew and a torrential rain fell. In the wind and rain, the Vajra Arhut and the Iron Hand Yama quickly exchanged moves. In the blink of an eye, they exchanged 10 moves. Every single move was earth-shattering and mighty, causing others to be unable to interfere at all. After another 10 moves, the two of them separated from the waves, each retreating 100 steps. Blood leaked out of a corner of the Iron Hand Yama's lips. His complexion appeared somewhat pale. However, he was full of vigor and did not suffer any serious injuries. "Bald donkey, you don't seem to amount to much," the Iron Hand Yama said disdainfully as he wiped the blood off the corner of his mouth. The protector's expression turned sullen as if he had not expected the Iron Hand Yama to be so strong. Peak Major Primal Core Realm was only a step away from the Cloud Sea Realm, a terrifyingly high cultivation. What was even more difficult to deal with was that the other party's quintessence was extremely solid. His cultivation technique and martial technique were exceptionally tyrannical. He was far from a regular Peak Major Primal Core cultivator. That was natural. If he were a regular Peak Major Primal Core cultivator, how could he have gained the title of the Iron Hand Yama? In the Grave Sea, no one under the Cloud Sea Realm could defeat them. The protector said sullenly, "I underestimated you. You should have plenty of experience fighting with Cloud Sea cultivators. You should have been a Peak Major Primal Core cultivator for many years." The Iron Hand Yama chuckled and said, It's just SO. However, it is sufficient to delay you. No matter how strong you are, can you be stronger than my boss, the savage Bloodstar Venerate? Can you be stronger than that Divine Shield Army's sword general? Haha, just a few words of praise from Lord Zheng, and you're getting cocky. I only used 50% of my strength just now. Black Arhats, heed my command, capture Xiao Chun. With a darkened face, the Guardian Protector charged forward once more. At this moment, he no longer hid his strength and released his aura. He walked over step by step, forming a heaven-overflowing aura, driving the power of heaven and earth, becoming one with him. Hua. With every step he took, the vast sky and the vast sea moved with him. For a moment, winds blew, clouds surged and waves surged. The Vajra protectors will of soul merged with heaven and earth, forming a vast, invisible aura field. The Iron Hand Yama's expression immediately turned grave, no longer daring to underestimate Xiao Qin. On the other side, the 8 black-clad Arhats also joined forces and charged at Xiao Chun. The weakest of the 8 black-clad Arhats was an early-stage major primal core cultivator. When they worked together, the pressure they brought was extremely terrifying. Black Lotus subduing Demon Fist. Boom! The 8 black-clad Arhats attacked at the same time, each throwing a punch at Xiao Qin. Immediately, the sky turned dark. 8 Buddha images covered the sky and sun as they each sent down a fist light. Xiao Qin took a deep breath. Just as the fist light approached and was about to drown him, he suddenly shouted, "Break! Break! Break!" Then he executed the army-breaking saber technique, breaking 1,000 armies. Xiao Qin shouted 3 times, each louder than the one before, sounding like thunder. With each shout, the light of that Buddhist chant dimmed. After 3 shouts, its aura plummeted. As for Xiao Qin, his aura soared. It was like he was in a desperate battlefield, facing a vast army alone. As for Xiao Qin's own aura, it soared. It was like he was in a desperate battlefield, facing thousands of soldiers and horses alone. The thunderous aura coming from Xiao Qin made it seem like he only needed one saber strike to break the vast army before him. Whoosh! A saber light appeared. With the support of great Tao energy, it swept out with the might of breaking an army. A loud sound rang out, and the saber light swept away the 8 fist lights covering the sky and sun. The black-clad Arhats all retreated. "Captain will help you." Luo Nan and Fei rode the cold steel eagles in the air, charging at the 2 black-clad Arhats without hesitation. Even though those black-clad Arhats were late-stage major primal core cultivators, they did not fear them at all. "Young Master Xiao, this old man will do his best." On the tortoise beast, Elder Tang held the flute in his hand horizontally, and melodious notes rang out. The tortoise beast under him immediately surfaced from the water, and charged at the group of black-clad Arhats. At this moment, the black cutlass also arrived. The 4-star ballista fired off many fatal ballista bolts. This warned this group of black-clad Arhats not to be careless. Even with their Arhat bodies, they could not completely block these peak 4-star ballista bolts. Immediately, the pressure on Xiao Qin decreased sharply. He only had to face the 2 black-clad Arhats alone. Clearly, Xiao Qin could not defeat the 8 black-clad Arhats with profound cultivations and terrifying strength. However, dealing with 2 alone was not that scary. It was not like Xiao Qin had not improved at all in his cultivation over the past few days. Before the Protector, the army-breaking saber technique, and the Mahamaya abstinence violation saber technique were not sufficient. However, it was more than enough to deal with these 2 black-clad Arhats. Go all out. Leave none alive. A baleful aura surged in Xiao Qin's heart. He only wanted to end this battle quickly and go help the Iron Hand Arhats. Leave none alive? You are underestimating the Black Lotus Church's accumulations and strength. The situation suddenly changed. However, the 2 black-clad Arhats facing Xiao Qin did not show any fear. No matter what, in their opinion, Xiao Qin was just a half-step primal core cultivator. Is that so? Xiao Qin smiled coldly and ferociously pushed forward with his left hand. Xiao Qin's killing move, the Ice Blood Lightning Dragon, quickly formed. A berserk tricolor dragon, infused with the power of lightning and ice, charged forward with the might of a blue dragon. This was a martial technique that once caught the dark gold-armored Venerate off guard. Now it immediately sent the two black-clad arhats flying. Army breaking saber technique, breaking mountains and rivers. Xiao Chen's aura soared to its peak. When he swung his saber, he materialized an unparalleled sharpness that could break mountains and rivers for 5,000 kilometers. This sharpness was boundlessly tyrannical. It advanced ferociously with an unblockable momentum. The two black-clad arhats worked together to throw a palm strike. Black lotus flowers filled the air, forming an independent field. However, the two black-clad arhats still could not block the berserk and tyrannical saber strike. They retreated again, their complexions turning even paler. Breaking stars. Let's see how many moves you can block. Xiao Chen shouted again. Then he held his saber with both hands and descended from the sky. The instant the two blocked the saber light, clumps of star-like light appeared and surrounded the three. It was like a star appeared out of nowhere above the vast sea, radiating resplendent starlight that illuminated the surroundings, looking very dazzling. Boom! In the next moment, the star exploded violently, giving people the feeling that it was an illusion. The star vanished just like that, leaving only ripples of light in the air. The two black-clad arhats lay on the surface of the sea. The two black-clad arhats vomited blood, but could no longer stand up. After Xiao Chen took the initiative, the black-clad arhats were ruthlessly suppressed by Xiao Chen from start to end, unable to retaliate at all. The army-breaking saber technique's tyranny flabbergasted everyone in disbelief. Xiao Chen breathed heavily, his body covered in sweat. The army-breaking saber technique's explosive power was incredibly sharp and boundlessly tyrannical. However, the exhaustion was terrifying. Xiao Chen had only used 2 killing moves, and he already felt incredibly fatigued. Xiao Chen glanced around and discovered that the Iron Hand Yama was in an incredibly miserable state. After the protector erupted with his true strength, the Iron Hand Yama could only be suppressed. The Iron Hand Yama could not retaliate at all. However, it was clear that the protector could not afford to be distracted, either. The Iron Hand Yama tried to come over and help several times, but the Iron Hand Yama held him back. The Iron Hand Yama's explosive power was also very terrifying. This protector did not dare to clash head-on with the other party. Damn it! Xiao Sua, receive my war banner. Xiao Chen waved his hand, and the scarlet blood war banner turned into a beam of light in the air, heading for the black cutlass. Whoosh! A figure soared into the air from the black cutlass. Then he firmly grabbed the scarlet blood war banner with his right hand and landed firmly on the watchtower. With the war banner in hand, Xiao Sua narrowed his eyes. As he brandished it, a surging scarlet light appeared. The immemorial demon soul formation instantly activated. Chapter 1652. The immemorial demon soul formation was activated, and the great desolate Aeon ferocious beast, Yazi, appeared. It raised its head and roared furiously. A tyrannical aura spread out from his body, causing the surging seawater to surge. Under Xiao Sua's control, the Yazi beast demon soul gave off a horrifying aura as it leaped up and slammed its front claws on the surface of the sea. In the unique aura that belonged to the Vajra protector, his soul will merged with the world. Every move he made could cause the world to change color, and the waves to rise and fall. His every move and stance was able to draw upon the power of heaven and earth in front of him. It was as if the one fighting was not a person, but a piece of the sky. When the palm fell, it was as if the entire sky had fallen. However, the Yazi beast demon soul's claw was like a strange object descending from the sky. It forcefully destroyed the Vajra protector's aura. Using the most violent method, he launched a lightning-fast attack. The Vajra protector's expression changed slightly. He looked up and saw a black shadow flash by. It was so fast that he couldn't see it clearly. In a panic, his body instinctively dodged. Bang! When the Yazi beast demon soul's claw landed on the surface of the seawater seemed to soften and sink in. In reality, it was naturally impossible for the seawater to become soft. It was just that the Yazi beast demon soul's claw strike was too powerful and too fast, resulting in a special scene. Boom! In the next moment, the seawater bounced back and the surface of the sea suddenly rose. Huge waves that were thousands of feet high were like a shocking tsunami, extremely frightening. What the hell is this? The Vajra protector looked shocked and bewildered, revealing a trace of doubt. They looked like ghosts, but they also possessed a ferocity and violent power that ghosts shouldn't have. They didn't look much different from corporeal ferocious beasts. After catching his breath, the Iron Hand Yama took a deep breath and quickly recovered. The Vajra protector's will of soul suppressed Xiaochen to the point of suffocation. However, the appearance of the Yazi beast demon soul was a great help to him. As soon as he appeared, he used brute force to shatter the other party's soul will. To him, this was a piece of good news. Without the suppression of the will of soul, the Iron Hand Yama would have a much easier time. Big brother Iron Hand, are you alright? Xiao Sua, who was controlling the Yazi beast demon soul, asked anxiously. Don't worry, I won't die yet. Let's do it this way. We mustn't let the bald donkey's soul and will appear. If we cooperate well, we might be able to take care of this black bald donkey. Alright. The two sides formally joined hands. After the Iron Hand Yama rested, they took the initiative to charge over. When Xiaochen saw this scene, he heaved a sigh of relief. Then he focused his attention on the remaining 6 black-clad arhats. With the unexpected help of the Iron Hand Yama, the situation slowly turned for the better. For hours later, Xiao Chun Elder Tang, Xiao Sua, Luo Nan the Tortoise Beast, and the 2 Cold Steel Eagles finally dealt with the remaining 6 black-clad arhats. This was more problematic than expected. It turned out that every black-clad arhat's strength was different. The strongest among them could fight against the other 3 black-clad arhats alone, catching Xiao Chun and the others off guard. This was because Xiao Chun did not know that the 72 arhats of the Black Lotus Church were named after numbers. Numbers represented strength and glory. The black-clothed arhat named E was in existence comparable to the Iron Hand Yama. Fortunately, none of the 8 black-clad arhats ranked in the top 10. Otherwise, it would have been a disaster. Big brother Xiao Chun, don't abandon us again, alright? Fei Er said as she looked at Xiao Chun from the Cold Steel Eagle. Elder Tang said sullenly. Although this old man knows that you have good intentions, what position do you place us in by doing this? Xiao Chun felt warmth in his heart as he nodded seriously. I'm sorry. I won't be so rash in the future. If I were in your shoes, I wouldn't feel good either. Alright, let's not talk about this anymore. Only that protector is left. We might still have a chance of victory, Elder Tang said as he looked at the battle in front. Xiao Chun entered deep thought before saying, attack together and end this quickly. There is indeed a chance. Right. Everyone's hot-bloodedness surged in their hearts. Without hesitation, they soared into the air and charged at the protector. Although Elder Tang and the others did not fear death, they were very wise. They did not blindly charge forward to die. They only chose to exhaust and harass the protector from a distance. Xiao Chun relied on his strong physique to bring out his blue dragon war body, choosing to fight in close combat. When Xiao Chun infused his great Dao energy into his saber light, he could put extreme pressure on that protector. The trouble that the protector could cause would be no less than the Iron Hand Yamas. Of course, the main force was still the Yazi Beast Demon Soul. With 2 lit pearls and the support of the Scarlet Blood War banner, the Yazi Beast Demon Soul possessed the strength of an ordinary star venerate. More importantly, its berserk aura was the special attribute of an ancient ferocious spirit. It perfectly countered the protector's will of soul. Once the other party unleashed his will of soul and merged with the world, it would be ruthlessly pierced. Otherwise, when the protector unleashed his will of soul, not to mention harassing the protector, they would not even be able to get close to him. Whoosh! The protector nimbly dodged the Yazi Beast Demon Soul's attack again. Just as he was about to make a move, he discovered that the turtle beast under the sea had stretched out its head and bit one of his legs at lightning speed. With a rare opening exposed, the Iron Hand Yama did not hesitate to charge forward and throw a punch. The protector's face sank as he roared in rage. He did not move from his original spot, and forcefully clashed with the Iron Hand Yama's punch. Then he sent the Iron Hand Yama flying with a palm strike. Whoosh! However, at this moment, Xiao Chen's saber light chopped down at lightning speed. Kasie. The lunar shadow saber struck the protector's shoulder. Xiao Chen used all his power and finally managed to cut him by 1 centimeter. Whoosh! Whoosh! Two beams of cold light shot over. At this crucial moment, the two cold steel eagles each sacrificed a precious tail feather and shot it into the protector's chest. The protector could not help roaring in pain when he felt the intense pain. Now, Xiao Suo controlled the Yazi beast demon soul to open its huge maw and descend from the sky, trying to swallow up the protector. With victory in sight, everyone revealed an expression of anticipation in their eyes. However, at this moment, the protector suddenly revealed a cruel smile. He said coldly, "Sect Venerate, heed my call. Black Lotus secret technique, unrestricted golden body. When the Black Lotus blooms, the world Venerate becomes a sage. I will reign supreme in the world." A strange Buddhist scripture came from the starry heavens. As the clouds churned, a black lotus bloomed, and a black Buddha image stood up. The Buddha image passed through the starry heavens, traveling an unknown distance. Then, it pierced through the clouds and entered the protector's body in the time it took for a spark to fly. Oh no! Xiao Chen's expression changed as he quickly drew his saber and left. However, he was still a step too late. Black light burst out of the protector's body and sent Xiao Chen flying. Just the shock waves made Xiao Chen feel like his skin was burning. Xiao Chen felt incredible pain. He stepped forward and kicked the tortoise beast into the bottom of the sea. Cracks appeared on the thick, mountain-like tortoise shell, looking incredibly horrifying. Unrestricted golden body protection. The protector shouted, and black scriptures spread out from his body. His entire skin turned black, flickering with a black-gold luster. The protector punched, and countless scriptures circled the fist light, knocking the Yazi beast demon soul over into the sea. The black cutlass in the demon soul's chest shook continuously, and Xiao Suo vomited a mouthful of blood. The protector, who was in charge of the formation, sustained significant injuries from this punch. After executing a secret technique, the protector reversed the situation in one breath. A strong aura radiated out, suppressing everyone to the point of suffocation. As for the Yazi beast demon soul, which the protector placed his hopes on, it could not turn the situation around because Xiao Suo was severely injured. Humph! Even if you can turn the sky upside down, you are just a bunch of dancing clowns. Before an era Venerate, all of you are just ants. Although the protector said that, he was furious in his heart, feeling an extreme heartache. Against such a group of people, he actually forced the protector to execute a forbidden technique and nearly died here. This was simply a great humiliation. Come with me. The protector swept his gaze around and stared at Xiao Chen. Then he rushed over step by step. It seemed like the protector had some misgivings. He ignored everyone else, only wanting to bring Xiao Chen away. Black scriptures circled the protector's body, and the era Venerate Buddha image followed him like a shadow. As he walked over, Xiao Chen had no chance to resist. Dong! Just at this moment, a strange sound suddenly rang out in the churning seawater. The sound was deep and distant, like the sound of footsteps in an empty valley, or the morning bell and evening drum. The moment this sound rang out, the protector's expression changed drastically. Dong! 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 Several more similar sounds rang out. Finally, Xiao Chen recognized them as the sound of the wooden fish. Where did this evil Buddhist disciple come from? How dare he show himself near the Patala mountain? A resonant voice rang out in the distance. Xiao Chen's heart skipped a beat. The Patala mountain was one of the 3 blessed lands of the Grave Sea. Chapter 1653. As the sound of the wooden fish grew closer, a small boat appeared in everyone's vision. A gray-clad monk stood on the boat, looking like he had drifted away from the mundane world, giving off the feeling that this was a pure land of the Buddhist sect. Xiao Chen could not help feeling reassured. This was an esteemed monk of the Patala mountain. Based on his aura, he was at least on par with the protector. The Patala mountain. The protector's expression turned grave. This was one of the 3 blessed lands of the Grave Sea. It was filled with righteous Tao temples of the Buddhist sect, even rank 4 temples. Actually, the protector was not surprised. The moment he executed the Black Lotus secret art, he had guessed that it would startle the Patala mountain. However, he had not expected the person to arrive so quickly. Needless to say, this gray-clad monk definitely came from a large temple. Only an esteemed monk of a rank 4 temple could arrive so quickly and put such great pressure on the protector. If it were any other time, the protector would not mind fighting to see who was stronger. However, he could not do so now. If he lingered for a while, more people would arrive. Boom. Suddenly, the Vajra protector made a move. Countless scriptures revolved around a large black Buddha hand. Then, the protector ruthlessly pressed down on the small boat. Under the pressure of the Buddha's palm, even the air was compressed. It had yet to truly fall. Before the boat truly landed, the seawater below it slowly sank, enduring the immense pressure. May the Lord Buddha. As the Buddhist proclamation rang out, the gray-clad monk gently knocked on the wooden fish in his hand. As the sound of the wooden fish rang out, a strong Buddhist light merged with the sound waves, continuously radiating out. Boom. Under the impact of the Buddhist light, that black Buddha hand exploded, vanishing into nothingness. The gray-clad monk looked up and discovered that the protector was no longer there. He did not know where that person ran off to. However, the gray-clad monk did not intend to give chase. This protector's strength was clear for all to see. Although the gray-clad monk's cultivation was higher than that person's, if the other party wanted to leave, the gray-clad monk could not do anything, so he could not be bothered. The gray-clad monk looked around and saw Xiaoqun lying on the surface of the sea in pain. She smiled faintly, giving off a peaceful aura as she gently landed beside Xiaoqun. Xiaoqun hurriedly got up and was about to thank him for saving his life. Who knew that just as he stood up, his body would feel a burning pain, and he would lie down again. Young benefactor, you've been burned by the evil sect's scriptures. You don't have to be so polite. As soon as he finished speaking, the gray-robed monk pointed at Xiaoqun's head and chanted sutras. A steady stream of white Buddhist light emerged from his hand and flowed into Xiaoqun's body. Xiaoqun immediately felt a warm sensation throughout his body. His skin also felt somewhat itchy. Not only were the burns all healed, but the internal injuries he suffered earlier had also recovered. It was really magical. Thank you, Grandmaster. I am unable to repay you for saving my life. The gray-robed monk smiled and said, saving a life is better than building a 7-storied pagoda. My cultivation itself is a great merit. Buddhist cultivation was particular about merit, great aspirations, and incense. To put it bluntly, merit was doing good deeds. Of course, the principle behind it was not that simple. As one's merit increased, the Buddhist Dharma would continuously deepen. It was an extremely profound process. Great aspirations. The Kunlun realm's Kittigarbha Bodhisattva made a great aspiration. Then he continuously worked hard to achieve it. When his aspiration was fulfilled, he would be reborn. Incense was to develop believers, to let more people feel the greatness and extraordinariness of Buddhism. Simply put, it was to absorb the power of faith and increase one's own power of will. Xiaoqun was very fortunate to have met an esteemed monk who cultivated merit. If it were a monk who cultivated something else, he might not have such a good face. Young benefactor, there is no need to take it to heart. Furthermore, I can tell that benefactor has a deep affinity with Buddhism and a good opportunity. Xiaoqun's heart skipped a beat. The other party was probably referring to the Buddhist heart that he had recently tempered by practicing the Mahamaya abstinence violation saber technique. Honestly speaking, I have traveled the world and obtained some Buddhist sect martial techniques. I am not a true Buddhist cultivator. The gray-clad monk felt enlightened. So that is the case. However, for you to cultivate it to such an exquisite level, it proves that you have a fate with Buddhism. Are you interested in coming with me to the Patala Mountain's profound light temple? This monk was going to take in a disciple. Xiaoqun thought about it and understood what the gray-clad monk was thinking. However, it was clearly impossible for Xiaoqun to become a monk. He quickly thanked the other party for his kind intentions and took out his recommendation letter. On the surface, Xiaoqun already had an appointment to go to the Black Cave Mountain. Unfortunately, you are very intelligent. If you join my Buddhist sect, you will definitely benefit greatly. Actually, you can also become a lay disciple. That way you will have fewer rules and restrictions. In the future, after you finish your studies, you can go down the mountain to marry and have children. The gray-clad monk did not give up completely, continuing to advise Xiaoqun. Hey, bald monk. No, it's Venerable. Venerable, this little one is injured as well. Can you take care of me? The Iron Hand Yama, who was on the surface of the sea, smiled and did his best to appear friendly, trying to gain trust. However, the Iron Hand Yama had a naturally ferocious face. The gray-clad monk turned around and smiled. I am Xianbei. Benefactor is not of the Buddhist sect. Just call me by my Dharma name. After saying that, the Iron Hand Yama softly chanted a scripture. The Iron Hand Yama gently raised his hand, and a gentle Buddhist light poured out from the clouds and landed on the Iron Hand Yama. The injuries on the Iron Hand Yama's body immediately healed at a visible pace. Venerable's attainments in the saving scripture are really high. I am in awe. The Iron Hand Yama stretched his body and felt great, not stingy with his praise. Xianbei showed a peaceful expression as he said softly, Benefactor's heart is filled with deep resentment and hatred. You have already formed a mental barrier. In the future, you will find it hard to improve your cultivation. In the worst case, you might even enter berserking chi deviation. The Iron Hand Yama's face sank when he heard that, and his expression changed. He was somewhat surprised that this monk's eyes were so sharp. How could the Iron Hand Yama not know that when he closed his eyes every day, he saw the miserable deaths of the Savage Blood Pirate Group's members? The Iron Hand Yama had long become a mental barrier. While he looked heartless, he was actually already a walking corpse. Venerable Xianbei, do you have any brilliant ideas? The Iron Hand Yama asked sincerely. Xianbei shook his head gently. If the cause and effect cannot be resolved, the obsession will be hard to resolve. If you are willing to let it go, you can come with me to the Profound Light Temple. 10 years should be enough to resolve the mental barrier in Benefactor's heart. When the Iron Hand Yama heard that, he could not help smiling. 10 years is really not long. However, this old man is a free man. I would rather die in a state of berserking chi deviation than go to some temple and shave my head to become a monk. Venerable, I appreciate your kind intentions. The Venerable Xianbei smiled without saying anything. Then he turned to look at Xiao Chun and asked in a neutral tone, Little Benefactor, would you tell me why the Black Lotus Church is pursuing you for so many kilometers, even sending out the protectors? Xiao Chun's face sank. As the Venerable Xianbei spoke, he looked straight at Xiao Chun. The Venerable Xianbei's eyes seemed to be able to see through everything in the world. For some reason, Xiao Chun had a feeling that if he were in the desolate desert, he might be forcefully brought back to the Patala Mountain's Profound Light Temple. I don't know either. Xiao Chun answered with a bitter smile. Right after Xiao Chun spoke, he felt the invisible pressure vanish. The Venerable Xianbei nodded and said, Many thanks, Benefactor, for telling the truth and resolving this misunderstanding. Indeed, Xiao Chun did not know. This was the truth. If the Venerable Xianbei found some other excuse, he would probably be in big trouble. There is still some distance to the Black Cave Mountain. This old monk will send you off for now. Xiao Chun rejoiced in his heart. That is good. Then, I'll trouble the Venerable Xianbei. No one knew if the Black Lotus Church's people would appear again or not. With the Venerable escorting, Xiao Chun's safety could be guaranteed. Naturally, this was for the best. For hours later, the situation changed. The Black Lotus Church's teams waiting at the other intersections all gathered. Holy Son, an esteemed monk of the Patala Mountain saved him here. He should have entered a blessed land by now. The injured protector explained to the Holy Son Ming Xian, who was dressed in snow-white robes and looked spotless. The Holy Son Ming Xian entered deep thought. It looks like he had a plan long ago. He knows that we cannot enter a blessed land, so he intends to hide here for a while. As for how long, no one knew. Perhaps 1 year, perhaps 10 years. With this thought, the Black Lotus Church's people could not help feeling depressed. Clearly, the deadline that the sect venerate gave would not be long. That's a good idea. However, if you think that I cannot catch you by hiding in a blessed land, you are gravely mistaken. The Holy Son Ming Xian said softly without any expression. The 4 protectors expressed their confusion. They all asked, Holy Son, what is your opinion? The Holy Son Ming Xian said softly without any expression on his face, I have my own ways. You all return to the holy mountain first, and explain the situation to the sect venerate. The holy Sun Mingxian was not willing to say more. However, he looked confident and did not appear to be in a difficult position at all. Chapter 1654. The Grave Sea had 3 blessed lands: the Black Cave Mountain, the Heavenly Shaking Mountain, and the Patala Mountain. Among them, the Black Cave Mountain and the Heaven Shaking Mountain were more secular. Their origins were more complicated, and the competition was more intense. Mount Patala, on the other hand, was filled with orthodox Buddhist monasteries. Mount Patala rarely appeared overbearing, but in truth, in terms of strength, the strongest of the 3 blessed and heavenly lands was definitely Mount Patala. After traveling for 7 days, the Black Cave Mountain appeared in the distance amid the clouds and mist at the end of their vision. After reaching this place, the Black Cutlass could no longer continue forward. Otherwise, the Black Cave Mountain's outer factions would take note of it. Young Master Xiao, are you really not willing to go to my profound light temple? As for lay disciples, as long as they cultivated for 10 years, they could leave the monastery and cultivate in the secular world. Furthermore, you will be able to travel freely. If you are willing, I am willing to accept you as my disciple. As they approached the Black Cave Mountain, Venerable Xianbei expressed his intention to take Xiaochun as his disciple once again. After interacting for 7 days and chatting idly with Xiaochun, the Venerable Master Xianbei's impression of Xiaochun deepened. Xiaochun smiled, tactfully declining Grandmaster's invitation again. Xiao Sua said, "Venerable, what do you think of me? My comprehension ability should be pretty good. How about I become your disciple?" Being able to be accepted as a disciple by the great Master Xianbei was undoubtedly a matter with a bright future. At the very least, he wouldn't lack any resources: martial arts manuals, divine weapons, medicinal pills, and spirit jades. The Reverend Xianbei smiled and shook his head. "Your 6 senses are impure. If you join my Buddhist sect, you will only delay your cultivation. Don't be dejected. As long as you have a heart for Buddha, you can cultivate no matter where you are." Ha ha ha. Immediately, laughter came from the deck. Xiao Sua's evaluation of the 6 senses being impure caused him to feel embarrassed. He could only smile in embarrassment. This evaluation could easily cause misunderstandings. Actually, it wasn't as he had imagined. The so-called 6 roots were the eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, and mind. To put it simply, it represented 6 different desires. If the 6 were not pure, it would mean that one's heart would be restless, and it would be difficult to quell one's desires. Master Xianbei said softly, "The path of cultivation in the Buddhist sect is extremely austere. Even my disciples might not receive any preferential treatment. What they needed was someone like Benefactor Xiao, someone who could endure loneliness. Perhaps after following me for 10 years, your cultivation and strength might not have improved at all. Instead, you might have a sudden epiphany that will shock the heavens." As the Venerable Xianbei spoke, he paused for a moment before continuing. "Benefactor Xiao, the Black Cave Mountain is different from our Buddhist sect. It is inevitable that they will make things difficult for you because of your cultivation. You should be mentally prepared." Xiaochun cupped his hands to express his gratitude. After interacting with Grandmaster Xianbei for the past few days, he realized that Grandmaster Xianbei could be considered a highly respected monk. As everyone conversed with him on the ship, they did not feel that he was a peak starry sky powerhouse. All the questions in his heart could be answered here. However, there were many factions in the Buddhist sect. A person's character would also be completely different if they focused on a different direction. One couldn't use Master Xianbei's character to define the entirety of Buddhism. Up ahead is Dongxian Island. It's responsible for receiving outsiders, so I won't be sending you off. Benefactors, let's meet again. Amitba. Master Xianbei bent down with one hand and chanted a Buddhist name. Then he got on a small boat and disappeared from everyone's sight. "Captain, should we wait for you here or what?" Xiao Suo asked. Xiaochun entered deep thought before replying. "I will be here for at least 3 to 5 months, at most 1 or 2 years. It is hard to say. During this period, you can move about freely. After I come out, I will come and find you." "Right. Captain, take care. After you come out, you just need to go to any pirate hall, and you will be able to find us using the captain's token. This was a true farewell. Without the threat of the Black Lotus Church, Xiao Chun relaxed and gave everyone some instructions. When it was the Iron Hand Yama's turn, Xiao Chun gave the other party a bear hug and said, "Many thanks. If not for you making a move, all of us would have died at the hands of that protector of the Black Lotus Church." The Iron Hand Yama laughed loudly and said, "There is no need to be so polite. Captain's whereabouts are unknown. I will remain on the ship during this period. I will help you keep an eye on this group of novices." Elder Tang looked at Xiao Chun and said, "Before I help you solve the mystery of the Scarlet Blood Pirate King's last words, I will remain on the ship." After obtaining the two's promise, Xiao Chun felt assured. At the very least, he could leave on his own in the future. There was no need to worry too much about the Black Cutlass's safety in the Grave Sea. "Goodbye. After I come out, I will definitely look for everyone. Captain, take care." Before everyone's reluctant gazes, Xiao Chun turned and left. This time, there was no pressure, and he could shake off the Black Lotus Church for a long time. He could be said to be traveling light. When he was about 250 kilometers away from Profound Cave Island, Xiao Chun felt a formless resistance blocking him. This was not a barrier or a formation. Instead, it was two Cloud Sea Star Venerates using their auras and wills of soul to block Xiao Chun, preventing him from advancing further. Xiao Chun could not help feeling startled. This was just an island in the periphery, yet two Star Venerates personally guarded it for a long time. This was too exaggerated. "Halt! State your purpose." A message rang out in Xiao Chun's mind. He knew what to do. Xiao Chun took out the recommendation letter and opened it. The lingering strong aura immediately spread out. Recommendation letter? Only the top experts who have made great contributions in your blessed lands, or who possess outstanding strength, are qualified to issue a recommendation letter. I have already verified that this senior's handwriting is authentic. After a short exchange, a message soon entered Xiao Chun's mind. Take the recommendation letter and go to the island's Cloud Ceiling Hall. There will be someone there to receive you. Many thanks. Feeling the obstruction disappear, Xiao Chun put away the recommendation letter. Then he took a few more steps and saw someone flying towards him. The newcomers were two young disciples. They did not say anything. After glancing at Xiao Chun's recommendation letter, they led him to the island. Under the two's lead, Xiao Chun soon arrived at the Cloud Ceiling Hall that the two Star Venerates mentioned. The Cloud Ceiling Hall was very large, several times larger than any of the pirate halls that Xiao Chun had seen. As Xiao Chun walked in, he felt that everything was very orderly. There was no chaos amid the bustle. Along the way, Xiao Chun noticed that there were many individual halls with the names of the sections. He guessed that these were probably the sects that were stationed in the Blessed Land. Go in then. The Cloud Ceiling Hall's Hall Master Mo is inside. We won't be accompanying you. The two disciples did not seem to care about Xiao Chun. After all, he was only a primal core cultivator. These two people leading the way were both peak minor primal core cultivators, which was normal. When Xiao Chun entered, there was only a black-clad old man in the simple and unadorned room with a stern expression. That person should be the hall master. Greetings, Senior Mo. Xiao Chun performed a cupped fist salute and stepped forward to hand in his recommendation letter. It's true. Tell me, which sect do you want to join? Senior Mo closed the recommendation letter and continued. Of course, you cannot enter just because you want to. You have to take the test of those sections. In the Black Cave Mountain, there are a total of 43 rank 3 sects and 2 rank 4 sections. Every rank 3 sect faces the pressure of competition and eliminates the last. The sect ranked last will have to leave the Blessed Land after 10 years. The competition was really intense, especially for a sect. Whether one could stay in the Blessed Land or not made a huge difference in status. No one was willing to be eliminated. The Blessed Land was the core of all the sects in the Grave Sea, the stage for the large sects to flaunt their strength. Here is a simple introduction of the various large sections. Take a look and make your choice. Senior Mo handed a jade strip to Xiao Chun. Xiao Chun received it and checked it. Then a lot of information appeared in his mind. However, this was not what Xiaochen wanted. After putting down the jade strip, Xiaochen asked, "Does Hall Master know which sect Senior Yi Zifeng is in?" "You know Senior Yi Zifeng?" At the mention of Yi Zifeng, the Hall Master's eyes lit up, and his emotions fluctuated. It looked like this Senior Yi Zifeng was indeed famous in the Black Cave Mountain. Xiaochen did not want to cause any trouble, so he said cautiously, "Not really. I just admire the reputation of the 10 great bladesmen of the Grave Sea. This junior is also a bladesman." "Oh." The Hall Master's eyes immediately dimmed. The sect that Senior Yi Zifeng is in is the Purple Flame sect, one of the 2 rank 4 sects of the Black Cave Mountain. "Could it be that you want to enter the Purple Flame sect?" Senior Mo revealed a playful expression. "I can tell that your bloodline is extraordinary. However, you have not advanced to the primal core realm yet. That means that your bloodline is not very strong. In the Blessed Land, the bloodlines of the Great Desolate Aeon's 10,000 races are not that rare. Only those who truly possess the bloodline of the Great Desolate Aeon's 10,000 races, and have to be at least medial grade, would be able to catch the eye of a rank 4 sect." Simply put, Xiaochen was not worthy of joining a rank 4 sect. It was best to give up on that thought. However, there were many twists and turns. "In reality, I feel that it would be somewhat difficult for you to join a rank 3 sect of a Blessed Land. If your saber techniques are truly extraordinary, you might as well go to a few sects that focus on the saber and try your luck." Hall Master Mo was speaking the truth. He was not trying to make things difficult for Xiaochen. Xiaochen did not get angry. He said calmly, "I still choose the Purple Flame sect. Hall Master, please help me make arrangements." The Hall Master shook his head and did not say anything more. Then he called over a subordinate and said, "Bring him to the Purple Flame sect's branch palace. Tell him to explain his purpose of coming here with my orders. Tell the people of the Purple Flame sect not to make things too difficult for him." "Yes, Hall Master." Chapter 1655. The Purple Ember sect was one of the 2 grade 4 sects in the Black Cave Mountain. The difference between a rank 4 sect and a rank 3 sect was like the difference between heaven and earth. They were the absolute overlords of the entire Grave Sea, enjoying many resources. There were many geniuses and outstanding talents in the sect, so the assessment requirements for outsiders were naturally stricter. Hall Master Mo's reminder and suggestion to Xiaochen wasn't intentional. He was speaking the truth. If it was someone close to him, he would have been more strict and even directly refused. However, Xiaochen wasn't related to him in any way. After explaining it once, he naturally wouldn't waste his energy to say more. In the Purple Flame Palace, the young man leading the way was holding the Hall Master's handwritten decree as he conversed softly with a white-bearded old man. Xiaochen could easily listen to these contents by circulating his chi slightly, but he didn't do so. Since the other party wanted to control it, he would just let them be. After a while, the white-bearded old man nodded slightly and gestured for Xiaochen to come over. He said softly, "Our Purple Flame sect has always upheld the rules of the Black Cave Mountain. Hence, we will give you this opportunity." Xiaochen said calmly, "Thank you. Don't get happy too early. This recommendation letter cannot be sent to the Purple Flame sect yet. There will not be any discount to your test requirements." Xiaochen nodded and didn't complain. "I don't need any special treatment. Just give me this opportunity. It's good for young people to be confident, but if you bite off more than you can chew then..." The white-bearded old man stopped here. Then he said casually, "Let's wait a few days. After this period, the various branches of the Purple Flame sect in the Grave Sea will send some elites to the sect. At that time, I'll send you to the Black Cave Mountain with them. They are the elites of the Purple Flame sect's branch to begin with, and they only managed to make it through numerous competitions. Hence, they do not need to be tested. I hope you can understand this point." "I understand. Then I won't waste any more of Senior's time. I'll go down first." Whitebeard looked at Xiaochen and nodded slightly. Although his strength was low, his mentality was quite good. However, he had chosen the wrong sect if he wanted to join the Purple Flame sect. 7 days later, the elite disciples from the Purple Flame sect's branch and Xiaochen arrived. Under the white-bearded old man's lead, They boarded the same boat and headed for the Black Cave Mountain. On the deck, the elite disciples from the various branches gathered together and chatted happily. Their expressions were filled with excitement. Anyone would be excited to learn that they would be able to enter the Black Cave Mountain to cultivate. Perhaps this was where they would be able to reach the heavens in a single bound. However, Xiaochen was not very optimistic about this. This group of people had just entered the Black Cave Mountain. When they entered the headquarters, they would definitely be suppressed. Normally, they were top figures in their respective branches, but when they arrived at the headquarters, they were reduced to mediocrity. This mentality was very difficult to change. It would take a long time to get used to it. Among them, 3 of them had pretty good cultivations, and Xiaochen thought highly of them. A purple-clad man who used a sword was called Baifeng. He was a peak minor primal core cultivator. His swordsmanship was exquisite, and what was even rarer was that he had already comprehended 90% of his sword soul. In the Great Thousand World, this was considered very impressive. Most swordsmen could be proud of themselves if they could cultivate their sword intent to the pinnacle. However, the purple-clad man could reach an even higher level, surpassing sword intent and condensing a sword soul. There was another person, a youth who used a saber. He had a stern and proud expression, and his name was Lung Yuan. The last person was a girl called Yang Qing. She was also a peak minor primal core cultivator. She mainly cultivated an ice-attributed cultivation technique. However, she did not give off a cold feeling. On the contrary, she had a smile on her face, appearing very popular. If Xiaochen did not see wrong, this girl was the strongest of the 3. However, she did not like to show off, so others would not be able to tell. Xiaochen had no other purpose in paying attention to these 3. He was just bored and casually looking around. He was not worried about the purple flame sex test. He would definitely pass it. What he worried about was whether Yi Zifeng was still in the purple flame sect. If Yi Zifeng was not around, then Xiaochen would have made this trip for nothing. Without a close senior, Xiaochen might end up sacrificing himself under the pressure of the Black Lotus Church's churchmaster. There were many rumors about that mysterious Black Lotus Church's churchmaster. The most horrifying rumor was that Black Lotus Church's churchmaster once fought with a Buddhist sect sovereign stage expert, and managed to retreat safely, preserving his life. After traveling for 3 days, the people of the various branches had already familiarized themselves with each other. There was no lack of competition between them, exchanging moves with each other. On this particular day, as the crowd cheered, the strongest swordsman Baifeng and the strongest bladesman, Lung Yuan, prepared to exchange moves. They wanted to see who was the strongest elite heading to the Black Cave Mountain this time. The 2 stood still and bowed. Then Baifeng chose to take the initiative. He was prepared to use his advantage of comprehending a sword soul to seize the initiative, not giving the bladesman Lung Yuan a chance to counterattack. A sword light flickered. After Baifeng condensed a sword soul, every move he made contained a strong aura. His entire sword move was heavy and heavy. Furthermore, it was extremely fast, showing no openings. On the other hand, the tyrannical and ferocious saber in Lung Yuan's hand looked exceptionally clumsy compared to Baifeng's elegant sword light. The situation played out as Baifeng expected, firmly in Lung Yuan's grasp. After gaining the upper hand, he continued to do so. Cheers immediately rang out in the plaza. Senior Brother Bai's sword technique is really exquisite. After comprehending a sword soul, it is indeed different. I wonder if Senior Brother Lung still has a chance to turn the situation around? That's impossible. He is already suppressed to this extent. What chance could there be? Just at this moment, Yang Qing, whose cultivation was similar to the 2's, walked over to Xiaochen's side and asked, "Young Master Xiao, what do you think?" Xiaochen found this strange, but he answered honestly, "I do not have any opinion." Feeling suspicious, Yang Qing asked, "What do you mean?" Xiaochen said sullenly, "This exchange is too casual. Actually, neither of them could bring out their full strength. Otherwise, it would be hard to control their moves, and there would definitely be injuries. Just based on this exchange, we cannot determine the 2's true strength." What a joke. Since both of them can control their moves, that is sufficient to show that the exchange is fair. Why can't we determine who is stronger? Before Yangqing could reply, a disciple who had a good relationship with Bai Feng shouted coldly. Xiao Chen retorted indifferently. That is because you do not understand bladesmen. A bladesman fighting to the death and a bladesman sparring normally are two different concepts. As Xiao Chen spoke, the outcome of the exchange on the platform was decided. The bladesman Leng Yuan took the initiative to admit defeat and sheathed his saber. However, he did not show any joy of victory on his face. This was because he had heard what Xiao Chen said earlier. With Xiao Chen's words, he made it seem like he had an unfair advantage in this exchange, which upset him greatly. With your cultivation, you are fit to talk about the saber? If there is a chance, in a fight to the death, are you going to say that you can defeat me as well? Bai Feng mocked coldly as he looked at Xiao Chen, eliciting laughter from the crowd. However, Yangqing frowned slightly. This senior brother Bai's magnanimity was a little too petty. Actually, there is a chance now. I can enter a state of fighting to the death at any time. Amid the laughter, Xiao Chen said indifferently, and the laughter stopped. As everyone looked at Xiao Chen, they all revealed incredulous expressions. Everyone knew that Bai Feng was just casually mocking Xiao Chen earlier, and did not take him seriously at all. However, the crowd did not expect Xiao Chen to take it seriously. When the bladesman Leng Yuan heard Xiao Chen say that he could enter a state of fighting to the death at any time, his eyes lit up, and he revealed a suspicious expression. Hee. Young Master Xiao, don't joke around. Look, senior brother Bai nearly took it seriously. Yangqing saw that something was wrong with the situation, and quickly tried to smooth things over. Xiao Chen shook his head and said, I never joke around. At the very least, I do not joke around with strangers. Bai Feng's face immediately sank. He stepped forward and said angrily, You are mocking me, right? In that case, I'll give you this opportunity. Right now I'm right here. Try hacking me with your saber. Come on. If you don't make a move, you are a grandson. Whoosh! A saber light flashed, so piercing that everyone's eyes hurt and they could not see clearly. By the time the saber light vanished, Bai Feng had already soared into the air, flying out of the warship and landing in the starry sea. The people on the deck were all stunned, flabbergasted. Xiao Chen looked at Yangqing and nodded slightly. Thank you for your kind intentions. However, I really rarely joke around. Yangqing was stunned for a moment, unable to react to what was going on. Only after a long time did someone startle to their senses. They quickly ran to the side of the warship and shouted Bai Feng's name. No one knew where Xiao Chen had sent him flying to. Chapter 1656. In the captain's quarters, the white-bearded old man, who was observing this scene, felt startled. Although Xiao Chen's earlier hand saber caught Bai Feng off guard, the saber intent and saber intent contained in that saber light were ridiculously strong. Otherwise, it would not have been possible to instantly knock Bai Feng into the air. More importantly, the white-bearded old man could tell that Xiao Chen had held back, not using his full power. Where did this brat come from? The white-bearded old man muttered to himself, thinking that he might have been wrong earlier. Back on the deck, Leng Yuan, who was also a bladesman, looked at Xiao Chen with a drastic change in expression. Extreme shock and incredulity. As a bladesman, Leng Yuan could feel the might of Xiao Chen's earlier hand saber even more clearly than the others. Whoosh! Just at this moment, Bai Feng leaped out of the water and landed on the surface. His entire body was drenched, and his complexion paled. He coughed a few times, clearly in discomfort. Senior brother Bai. Senior brother Bai, are you all right? A group of people rushed over and asked out of concern. No matter how they looked, Bai Feng's complexion did not look good. Bai Feng ignored them. He strode forward and looked at Xiao Chen, his eyes filled with dissatisfaction. I told you to draw your saber. What does a hand saber count for? Are you looking down on me, Bai Feng? As Bai Feng walked over, he released his aura and placed his right hand on his sword hilt. He spread out his sword domain, and a sharp light suddenly burst out from his body. Bai Feng's long hair and clothes fluttered. He looked like an unparalleled treasure sword with unparalleled sharpness. Oh no! Senior brother Bai is angry. Feeling the sword domain that Bai Feng spread out and the killing chi in his eyes, Everyone retreated to the side, not daring to interfere. If Bai Feng was just exchanging moves earlier, then now he truly intended to kill. Bai Feng felt too sullen in his heart. He had not expected Xiao Chen's palm saber to knock him into the air so easily. Originally, Bai Feng had not expected Xiao Chen to dare to make a move against him. A peak minor primal core swordsman. Of course, Bai Feng had hoped that Xiao Chen would make a move. That way, he could take the opportunity to teach Xiao Chen a lesson. For this, Bai Feng had even used extremely mocking words. Who knew that as soon as he finished his words, he would be sent flying, losing all his face. If he did not get his revenge, he would not be able to stay in the Purple Ember sect in the future. Draw your saber. Weren't you very powerful just now? You're a fucking grandson. Bai Feng released his aura to its peak, circulating all the quintessence in his body. He waited for Xiao Chen to attack, then he would kill him with one sword strike. Seeing that Xiao Chen's expression didn't change, he teased him again. This time, he was prepared. He did not believe that he would be defeated by Xiao Chen again. Senior brother Bai, don't go too far. Yang Qing's face sank. She felt that Bai Feng's actions were too much. A chill spread out from her body as she shielded Xiao Chen. In the captain's cabin, the white-bearded old man frowned slightly when he saw this. He thought to himself, this is a good opportunity to observe Xiao Chen's strength. However, he did not wish for Yang Qing to block Bai Feng. Get out of the way, this has nothing to do with you. Bai Feng coldly shouted. If you continue to block me, be careful, I won't let you off either. Do you think I'm afraid of you? Yang Qing smiled faintly. However, this smile was completely different from her usual genial one. Her smile sent a chill down one's spine, causing one to tremble slightly. Clearly, Yang Qing was angered by Bai Feng's words. Everyone felt slightly startled. Only now did they realize that Yang Qing had been hiding her strength all along, fully possessing the strength to compete with Bai Feng. Xiao Chen felt somewhat speechless. Unexpectedly, after being sent flying by his palm saber, Bai Feng still did not realize the truth. Bai Feng did not know that Xiao Chen had already shown mercy, yet he still used his full power, fighting to the death. The group of old fellows on the warship could see this, but they did not come out to do anything. I told you to get out of the way, but you did not. You asked for it. Bai Feng shouted coldly as he thought. Ignoring everything else, he vented all the rage in his heart on Yang Qing. The sword domain gathered at the tip of the sword. Immediately, that spot of sword light became as resplendent as a star, illuminating the surroundings. A terrifying might radiated from the tip of the sword. A strong wind blew, forcing many people back. These people were forced into the air, flying out of the warship and hovering over the starry sea. When they saw such a scene, they were somewhat startled. Bai Feng was fighting to the death. Yang Qing snorted coldly and spread her hands. A cold intent gathered and turned into frost spreading out under her feet. The air turned foggy, and the cold intent assaulted everyone. Yang Qing pushed off with her feet, and her figure soared into the air, charging towards that spot of sword light. Xiao Chen's expression could not help but change. What's going on? Both sides are fighting to the death. If they really clashed, someone would be severely injured, possibly losing the chance to join the Purple Flame sect. In the time it took for a spark to fly, Xiao Chen did not have much time to think. He executed the new fish dragon art in the blink of an eye, moving like a phantom. The intense friction between his body and the air directly ignited his protective veritable essence energy, forming a thin ring of purple flames. In the blink of an eye, Xiao Chen arrived first despite moving later, appearing before Yang Qing. Seeing that spot of sword light as resplendent as a star, he did not hesitate to draw his lunar shadow saber. Boom! When the great Tao energy spread out, it shattered the sword domain on Bai Feng's body in merely an instant. A saber light flashed, and there was a metallic clang. The sword in Bai Feng's hand broke. Bai Feng vomited a mouthful of blood and held his chest as he fell to one knee. A swordsman's heart was connected to the sword. Although it was exaggerated for a swordsman to die when the sword broke, it was very normal for the swordsman to be injured when the sword broke. The sudden scene made Yang Qing cry out softly. Xiao Chen's back faced her. Her palm wind had already reached the critical juncture. She could not control it at all and could not pull it back. She could only do her best to pull back her veritable essence energy and reduce the might of this palm strike. However, in the blink of an eye, it would land on Xiao Chen's body. If she pulled it back now, it would be too late. She would not be able to reduce its might. However, at this crucial moment, Xiao Chen did not panic. Instead, he pushed out a palm strike with the back of his hand. Bang! When Yang Qing's palm strike struck Xiao Chen's palm strike, she felt like the force of her palm strike flowed into the vast sea, not causing any ripples at all. She could not help feeling startled. What a strong physique! The flow of veritable essence energy is also very strange. Could he have been hiding his strength as well? All this happened in the time it took for a spark to fly. Xiao Chen broke Bai Feng's sword with one saber strike. Then, without moving at all, he received Yang Qing's palm strike. This happened nearly at the same time, confusing everyone. Who could have imagined that Xiao Chen could resolve this dangerous situation alone, startling everyone? Whoosh! 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 The many disciples hovering in the starry sea quickly landed on the ships. The tenfold gravity of the sea was not easy to endure. Many people gave Xiao Chen strange looks, not understanding what was going on. After that, some kind-hearted disciples helped the somewhat pitiful Bai Feng up and checked on his injuries. When they found out that Bai Feng's soul was only injured, they relaxed. With such minor injuries, he would recover after resting for a few days without fighting. Young Master Xiao, you really hide your strength deeply. This little girl admires you. Yang Qing withdrew her hand and revealed a smile. Xiao Chen said calmly, I never hid anything on purpose, including my own strength. It is just that no one asked me. I am not a fool. Without true ability, why would I choose the Purple Flame sect? Perhaps you are a little different. Yang Qing's expression changed slightly. Then, she smiled in embarrassment and did not say anything. All of you pay attention. It is just a small matter, and you started fighting. Do you still want to enter the main sect? After the matter was over, the white-bearded old man arrived late. He showed a furious expression. After lecturing everyone, he said with a cold expression, Xiao Chen, get in here. Before everyone's complicated gazes, Xiao Chen casually followed after the white-bearded old man. When the white-bearded old man entered the room, the anger on his face immediately vanished. He smiled at Xiao Chen and said, Little brother Xiao Chen, have a seat. Would you like to drink tea or wine? I have both here. Xiao Chen found this funny. This white-bearded old man's attitude changed really quickly. The ways of the world are really interesting. What is it? Senior, please speak directly. Haha. Nothing much, just a casual chat with you. Just call me Martial Uncle Lu. In any case, you will be a Purple Flame sect disciple soon. The white-bearded old man said with a laugh. Xiao Chen asked, Is there still no test? What test? I just need to say the word. There is no need. However, I remember Senior saying 10 days ago that having confidence is a good thing, but biting off more than you can chew is not good. Old Lu smiled in embarrassment and said, Did I? I am old and my memory is bad. Perhaps you heard wrong. It is settled, then. When you arrive at the main sect, you and these branch elites can directly enter. Just remember to say that this old man introduced you. Chapter 1657. The vast grave sea did not even have a sovereign personage. However, 10,000 years ago, a divine vein realm expert actually appeared. Xiao Chen added, This senior really takes good care of the grave sea. Xiao Chen smiled for some reason, startling Yang Qing slightly. Something seemed to be wrong. Only then did Xiao Chen relax a little. When Xiao Chen arrived on the deck of the ship, he happened to run into the smiling Yang Qing. Xiao Chen was slightly stunned. Miss Qing, what can I do for you? Seeing that Xiao Chen did not say anything, Yang Qing revealed an expression of understanding, thinking that he tacitly agreed. Hence, I need to grab hold of everything, any fortuitous encounters that I can. Xiao Chen thought to himself, but his expression did not change, giving off an unfathomable feeling. The foundation of working together was based on the two sides being roughly equal in strength. If one side was too strong, the other side would be in danger. At that time, The elites of the three blessed lands will all enter the fiendish demon battlefield. The intensity of the competition is easy to imagine. If we work together, our chances will increase significantly. How difficult would it be to produce a sovereign personage? However, the white-bearded old man did not know what Xiaochen was thinking. He revealed a "you can't do it" look in his eyes as he smiled and said, "So you had best not think about it. However, given your potential, entering the inner sect is just a matter of time. Your future will be bright as well." Xiaochen entered deep thought. Then a light flashed in his eyes as he said, "Continue. You have successfully piqued my interest." When Xiaochen heard this, a ripple appeared in his heart. A divine vein realm expert. Perhaps it was when Yangqing stood before him without hesitation, helping him block Bai Feng's sword strike. "I have been waiting for this opportunity. Once I obtain a fortuitous encounter in there, I will be able to soar to the heavens in one step, greatly increasing my chances of advancing to the Cloud Sea realm." Xiaochen would definitely be relatively safe if he entered while preserving his strength. A demonic genius outstanding talent like Yangqing would definitely be able to cultivate to peak major primal core realm, a realm that ordinary people could only look up to. If Yangqing knew Xiaochen's true combat prowess, she would not dare to work together with him. It was unknown whether the other party was feigning ignorance or not. Xiaochen explained, "It's nothing. I just feel some admiration for the strongest of the Grave Sea's 10 great bladesmen. What kind of demeanor does he have? How about it? Do you want to cooperate?" The fiendish demon battlefield rarely opens. At that time, with people helping each other, it will be much safer. As expected, I was right. He could join the Purple Flame sect without taking the test and not have to pay anything. Yangqing rolled her eyes at Xiaochen and said, "I thought you didn't know anything." When Yangqing saw the subtle change in Xiaochen's expression, she knew that Xiaochen really did not know about this fiendish demon battlefield. But after thinking about it, he decided not to say it. Yangqing continued, "This fiendish demon battlefield opens once every 20 years. With my strength, I could have entered the main sect a long time ago. However, in order to give me a better opportunity, my master has never allowed me to go." The white-bearded old man smiled and said, "It's not that this old man is looking down on you. But if you want to enter Elder Ye's tutelage, better not think about it. Do you know Pan Huang? Elder Ye's master is such a legendary character. Over the years, countless outstanding talents have wanted to enter Elder Ye's tutelage." "That's a pretty good suggestion. Very well, I'll tell you about it. At the intersection of the three blessed lands, there is a remnant known as the Fiendish Demon Battlefield. Fiendish demons, you should know about the martial epic's birth, the era when fiendish demons wreaked havoc, right? Sometimes, it was not necessary to tell the truth about everything. It was best for both sides. The title of sovereign among men was well-deserved. Even in the central great realm, Sovereign Yi was an overlord-level character, who could move about unhindered. After all, most people would spend most of their lives in the Purple Flame sect. It was hard to avoid interacting with them in the future. However, it was just a matter of time. It was hard to say if Xiaochen wanted to advance to the Cloud Sea realm. If Xiaochen forcefully told Yangqing the truth, they might not get along well. It was best not to say. Sovereign realm, the third stage of the Cloud Sea realm, the sovereign realm. This was simply inconceivable and shocking. "Senior Liu, do you have any news about the Purple Flame sect's Senior Yi Zifeng?" Xiaochen smiled and did not say anything. He knew that the other party was purposely mocking him. Xiaochen did not retort, just quietly waiting for the other party to continue. As Xiaochen watched the other party leave, he smiled faintly and left alone. Xiaochen's heart was as clear as a mirror. This white-bearded old man just saw that he had potential. Xiaochen wanted to establish a good relationship with the white-bearded old man. Not to mention what he wanted, at the very least, not to offend him. Yangqing revealed an expression of joy when she heard this. "It's a deal then." Yangqing blinked, looking at Xiaochen with some anticipation. Although she did not know what this fiendish demon battlefield was, she did not know what it was. Xiaochen nodded slightly and smiled softly. "Not to mention anything else, at the very least, the title is that of Pan Huang's grand disciple. That would scare me to death." The fiendish demon battlefield is the place where the predecessors of the various races fought intense battles with the fiendish demons. Coincidentally, there is one in the Grave Sea. Furthermore, 10,000 years ago, a powerhouse of the Grave Sea took it for himself and used it as a cultivation ground. Good, it's settled then. Elder Yi. Xiaochen entered deep thought. Then he followed the other party to a quiet corridor in the warship. It was not a bad idea to bring this girl along. He could treat it as repaying her for this favor. You are also here for the fiendish demon battlefield, right? Yang Qing asked as she looked at Xiaochen. When Yang Qing heard that, she smiled. Before this powerhouse died, he returned to the Grave Sea from the Central Great Realm. He left behind his inheritance and mantle in the fiendish demon battlefield to benefit the later generations of the Grave Sea. Naturally, Xiaochen was happy with this. He started chatting with the white-bearded old man in the room. Yang Qing smiled and said, "Does that mean that you agree?" The old order had just been destroyed, and the new order had not been established yet. This period of time was known as the Dark Period of the Martial Epoch, or the Era of Fiendish Chaos. Xiaochen rolled his eyes in his heart. Not only do I know him, but I also have the Saber Sovereign Medallion. In name, I am Pan Huang's disciple. Yang Qing glanced at Xiaochen and said, "Come with me." What's there to agree to? I don't even know what the fiendish demon battlefield is. What's there to talk about? Xiaochen revealed a playful smile as he looked at the other party. Understanding dawned on Xiaochen. The first time he saw Yang Qing, he realized that she had hidden her strength. It turned out that it was for the fiendish demon battlefield. That explained everything. This cultivation realm already reached the limits of human cultivation. Any further, and it would surpass the limits of human cultivation. Xiaochen nodded. He knew about this. The Book of the Epics had detailed records of it. Xiaochen originally wanted to tell Yang Qing the truth. She had underestimated his strength, and that the two of them did not have the foundation to work together. After saying that, Yang Qing paused. This powerhouse is the only divine vein realm expert born in the Grave Sea. Of course, the three blessed paradises were also intentionally gathered together by him. Unfortunately, the younger generations of the Grave Sea are disappointing. Not to mention divine vein realm experts, they have not even produced a sovereign personage for a long time already. As far as Xiaochen knew, the strongest person in the Grave Sea was a holy venerate. The Cloud Sea realm's second minor realm was the Holy Light realm. Furthermore, there were very few of them, less than 5. The immortal Tao had collapsed, but the martial Tao had yet to appear. Cycle no longer existed, and the heavenly Tao no longer existed. The entire Great Thousand Realms was in chaos. Demons danced around, and fiendish demons were born amid the chaos, bringing disaster to the world. When Yang Qing heard that, she revealed a strange expression. She felt that she could not figure out the person before her at all. The white-bearded old man showed a strange expression. He asked somewhat warily, "What are you thinking of doing?" "That is our sect's supreme elder. He has been in closed-door cultivation for the past few years, and has not come out at all." Xiaochen casually said a few words before taking his leave. It was fine as long as he knew that Yi Zifeng was still in the Purple Flame sect. Xiaochen explained. In the entire history of the Grave Sea, he is the only divine vein realm powerhouse. If we go any further, that would be too long ago. Only later did the sages of the various sects appear. The 3,000 great Tao materialize and suppress the fiendish demons. Only after a new order was established did the martial epoch officially begin. Chapter 1658. The ship continued onward, heading for the Black Cave Mountain. However, ever since he saw Xiaochen's strength, he had never seen it before. Initially, the elites of the branches, who were not willing to interact with Xiaochen due to their status, started to try to befriend him. Aside from Leng Yuan, who was also a bladesman, Xiaochen did not want to bother with the others, choosing to enter closed-door cultivation for the past few days. 3 days later, the ship passed through an invisible barrier. The spiritual energy suddenly changed. Everyone felt like they had entered an unfamiliar space. Many disciples on the deck could not stand stably, swaying left and right. The pure and dense spiritual energy that came from the blessed land gave off an omnipresent pressure that covered the sky and covered the earth. Xiao Chen's physique had already reached the level of a major primal core venerate. Furthermore, with his blue dragon bloodline, he only needed some time to adapt. He felt like he had encountered a spring breeze, feeling incredibly comfortable. The others blushed slightly, clearly finding this somewhat taxing. They needed some time to adapt. After all, the level of this space and the spiritual energy it contained were very different. Xiao Chen looked around. This somewhat unfamiliar place before him had a sky as blue as if it had been washed clean. It looked like a sapphire, giving off a dreamy beauty. The strangest thing was that the seawater under the ship was clear and transparent, turning into ordinary seawater. No, it was even clearer than ordinary seawater, filled with spiritual energy. The fish swimming in it were filled with immortal spiritual energy, very similar to the spiritual fish that Xiao Chen had seen in the past. Every blade of grass and every tree gave off a faint Taoist immortal qi. When one looked around, it seemed like everything here was filled with an aura of spirituality. The elite disciples from the various branches adjusted to this place, all of them revealing excited expressions. Inside the blessed land, everything seemed very different. The plants, bricks, tiles, buildings, and the level of space were all much stronger than the outside world. Don't just look around. Regulate your energy first, and get used to the blessed land as soon as possible. Elder Lu walked out of the ship, and reminded everyone with a stern expression. The others sorted out their emotions and closed their eyes to regulate their energy, then sat down cross-legged. Xiao Chen did not feel any discomfort. He stood there casually, continuing to look around. Everything about the blessed enclave surprised him. Cultivating in such a place was like being an immortal in the past. No wonder everyone fought to get in. The outstanding talents that came out of the blessed lands were also very proud and arrogant. Back in the pirate hall, Jiang Xian and Ling Yu had done the same. Speaking of which, if Xiao Chen remembered correctly, Ling Yu was also from the Black Cave Mountain, a blessed land. He just did not know which sect he was in. Elder Lu did not find the standing Xiao Chen strange. He walked over and pointed to a peak in front. That is our Purple Flame sect. There are a few more peaks behind us, and they are all subordinate peaks of our sect. The rank 3 sects that were stationed here only had 2 peaks of the Black Cave Mountain at most. Our Purple Ember sect has 5, not including the main sect. This is the foundation of a rank 4 sect. There was a hint of arrogance in Elder Lu's words. The rank 3 sects that could be stationed here are all peak existences among rank 3 sections. However, compared to our Purple Ember sect, they are not worth mentioning. Xiao Chen looked up. The Black Cave Mountain was an extremely vast mountain range in the middle of the sea. Its shape was irregular, as if someone had purposely arranged it. The peaks were very scattered. Every mountain peak was filled with a vast amount of pure heaven-earth yuan qi that grew and multiplied endlessly. As a result, the peaks shrouded in a layer of dreamy spiritual energy mist, looking very majestic. Xiao Chen's gaze paused and fixed on the peak that Elder Lu pointed to. He thought to himself, no wonder there are so many subordinate peaks. It turns out that this is one of the 2 main peaks. Which sect does the other main peak belong to? Xiao Chen asked Elder Lu. Elder Lu's expression changed slightly when he heard that. It's the Divine Firmament sect, the other rank 4 sect in the Black Cave Mountain. Xiao Chen had some understanding of geomancy. The 2 main peaks were the center of the Black Cave Mountain. They were like towering pillars supporting the sky, standing side by side with the world. They gave off boundless might. Even a Cloud Sea expert would not dare to barge into this peak. However, the auras above the 2 main peaks were different. Electric light soared into the sky from the Divine Firmament sect's main peak. Purple Qi and Auspicious Qi circled above. The Purple Flame sect was slightly weaker. In the past few years, the Divine Firmament sect should have held the upper hand in the competition between the 2 sections. However, the difference was not that great. Aside from the sea and the mountain peaks, Xiao Chen also saw several continents and rivers in the distance in the blessed land. Just at this moment, the spiritual energy mist around the main peak of the Purple Flame sect split into a few strands and formed a multicolored path that approached from afar and landed before the ship. Go on then. This is our sect's welcoming light. The group of people showed excited expressions as they boarded the welcoming light one after another. Their bodies immediately floated up and flew towards the purple flame sect. Many disciples from other sects on the foreign ships looked at the people who boarded the welcoming light with envy on their faces. To be able to execute the welcoming light, one had to be a rank 4 sect that occupied the main peak. Sects were ranked according to rank. The difference of one rank was like the difference between heaven and earth. After a while, the welcoming light vanished, and the group landed at the foot of the main peak. An administrator of the main peak had been waiting for them for a long time. Elder Lu, I have been waiting for you, the red-clad administrator at the mountain tablet, who seemed to be old acquaintances with Elder Lu, said as he stepped forward. Elder Lu smiled and said, Administrator you are too polite. These are all chosen by the sect branch. All of them have great potential, and will be able to replenish the main peak with new blood. I hope that is the case. In recent years, the Purple Flame sect's new generation disciples are no match for the Divine Firmament sect. After that, I will arrange for them to join the outer sect. How they fare in the future will depend on their luck. Elder Lu replied with a smile. Then, he whispered a few words into the red-clad administrator's ear. The red-clad administrator's eyes lit up as he looked at Xiao Chun, revealing a suspicious expression. Men, follow the old rules and bring these new disciples to the External Affairs Hall for the outer sect elders to choose. The red-clad administrator instructed, and someone immediately led Yangqing and the others away. You stay. The red deacon pointed at Xiao Chun and said calmly. Yangqing followed the person in front of her and glanced at Xiao Chun. Then she sent a voice projection. The fiendish demon battlefield will open in 2 months. I will use these 2 months to enter the inner sect. I hope you won't disappoint me. Only by entering the inner sect would one qualify to enter the fiendish demon battlefield alive. Yangqing said this because she was somewhat worried that Xiao Chun would not be able to enter the inner sect. In that case, she would have to find someone else to work with, but the risk would inevitably increase. He still hoped that Xiao Chun could join the inner sect. After Yangqing and the other branch disciples left, the red-clad administrator looked at Xiao Chun and said, Show me your recommendation letter. The red-clad administrator casually inspected it. After verifying its authenticity, he stopped looking at it. Elder Lu told me about your talent. He guaranteed that you would not need to take the test. He even asked me to guarantee that you could enter the inner sect directly. The red-shirt deacon said slowly, bit by bit. Xiao Chun felt surprised. Unexpectedly, this Elder Lu thought so highly of him. How about it? If you are willing, I will do that. Directly entering the inner sect is something that many new disciples dream of, the red-clad administrator asked rather casually. The red-clad administrator asked rather casually, as no one would refuse. He did not believe that Xiao Chun would either. Xiao Chun did not answer directly. Instead, he asked to confirm. I would like to ask if Senior Yi Zifeng is still in the Purple Flame sect. Xiao Chun had no choice. He needed to know the most reliable answer. Elder Lu was often outside. It was hard to guarantee that his information was accurate. It was better to ask this red-clad administrator, who was in the sect most of the time. Why are you asking this? Senior Yi Zifeng has not come out of closed-door cultivation for close to 10 years already. However, I am sure that he is still in the sect. The red-clad administrator looked at Xiao Chun suspiciously, not understanding what Xiao Chun meant. Elder Lu said helplessly, Xiao Chun, it is not that this old man is looking down on you. Just forget about taking Senior Yi Zifeng as your master. He is our sect's supreme elder, one of the stabilizing pillars of the Purple Flame sect. Furthermore, he is Pan Huang's disciple. Say, why are you so stubborn? When the red-clad administrator heard that, he stroked his goatee and smiled faintly. This was the case for many youths. They entered the Purple Flame sect for Elder Yi Zifeng. Unfortunately, Yi Zifeng was very picky. After so many years, the sect had forcefully requested to take only one person as a disciple. However, Xiao Chun's expression did not change much. As long as Yi Zifeng was around, it was fine. As long as he was sure that Yi Zifeng was around, he could rest assured. With a thought, Pan Huang's saber sovereign medallion appeared in Xiao Chen's palm. Then it started spinning quickly. An aura unique to Pan Huang spread out from the medallion, radiating to every peak of the Purple Flame sect. At the peak of the mountain, where the spiritual energy was the densest, a stone door opened. A stone door opened, and a handsome middle-aged man walked out of it. A hint of suspicion appeared on his face. Master's aura? In the next moment, his figure flickered, silently arriving at the source of the aura. The sudden appearance of the middle-aged man startled the red-clad administrator and Elder Lu. Just as they were about to question him, their expressions changed drastically at the same time. The two bowed at the same time and said fearfully, "Greetings, Martial Grand Uncle." The handsome middle-aged man was none other than Pan Huang's disciple, Senior Yi Zifeng. When Yi Zifeng saw the Pan Huang medallion in Xiao Chen's hand, he immediately understood who Xiao Chen was. "Junior brother, you are here. Why did you not send someone to inform me?" Yi Zifeng said to Xiao Chen with a warm smile. Plop. When Elder Lu heard that, he stumbled in fright and fell to the ground, his heart thumping heavily. "Damn it. Are you trying to scare this old man to death?" "Junior brother." Elder Lu felt dizzy as he fell to the ground, completely confused. Chapter 1659. Yi Zifeng had once followed Pan Huang for a period of time. He had heard Pan Huang mention the Saber Sovereign Medallion before. Hence, the moment he saw the Saber Sovereign Medallion, he immediately guessed Xiao Chen's identity. Given Pan Huang's means, no one could obtain the Saber Sovereign Medallion through trickery. Only a true bladesman could obtain his recognition. Xiao Chen put away the Saber Sovereign Medallion and performed a cupped fist salute. "Big brother Yi is too serious. This humble one is not worthy of this title." Yi Zifeng smiled faintly and carefully sized up Xiao Chen. Suddenly, his eyes lit up. What a guy! He actually comprehended the Saber Dao Great Dao power. After glancing at the red-clad administrator and Elder Lu, Xiao Chen turned around and said, "My junior brother is here to look for me. I will personally speak to the sect master about his matter. You two don't leak anything. Don't leak anything." "Yes, Martial Granduncle." Before Yi Zifeng's gaze, the red-clad administrator and Elder Lu felt a mountain of pressure. Sweat trickled down their foreheads as they replied in fear and trepidation. Yi Zifeng revealed a satisfied smile and stretched out his hand. A saber light wrapped around Xiao Chen and soared into the clouds. A long time after Yi Zifeng left, the red-clad administrator and Elder Lu felt the pressure on them vanish, as if a heavy burden had been lifted from their shoulders. Martial Grand Uncle has been in closed-door cultivation for so many years. It turns out that he already broke through to Star Venerate long ago. The red-clad administrator looked in the direction that Yi Zifeng disappeared in, revealing an expression of admiration. Elder Lu wiped the sweat off his forehead and said weakly, "Deacon He, I'm sorry. I nearly brought you trouble. This time, I made a mistake and nearly caused trouble." The red-clothed deacon smiled and said, "There's no need to apologize. Elder Lu, you escorted Martial Granduncle's junior brother to our sect, so it's obviously a great merit. Stay here for a day or two, and Martial Granduncle's reward will definitely come." When Elder Lu heard this, he rolled his eyes and smiled in realization. "Haha, that's right. Why didn't I think of this? I was almost confused." However, Martial Granduncle's junior brother, no matter how one listened to it, it sounded a little awkward. But if he didn't call him that, he couldn't think of a better way to address Xiao Chen. Yi Zifeng was the sect's grand elder, and his seniority was even higher than the sect leaders. However, Xiao Chen was his junior brother. This meant that Xiao Chen's seniority had suddenly become even higher than the sect leaders. It was a complete mess. However, Martial Granduncle, since you said that you cannot leak this matter, there must be a reason for it. You must not leak this information," the red-clothed administrator said as he took a glance at Old Lu. Elder Lu smiled and said, "Relax, I've lived for so many years. How can I not know this logic? Come on, long time no see. Let's go for a drink." Yang Qing probably would not have expected that Xiao Chen, whom she was worried about not being able to enter the inner sect, would be picked up by the Purple Flame sect's legend, Yi Zifeng. At the summit of the main peak, a rainbow glow spread out. The dense spiritual energy of heaven and earth gave off a vast pressure. Even with Xiao Chen's physique, which rivaled that of a major primal core cultivator, he still found it somewhat hard to endure and needed some time to adapt. As Xiao Chen sized up the surroundings, he felt startled in his heart. It felt like spiritual energy was gushing out at every moment. The multicolored fog in the surroundings looked like a 7-colored waterfall. Could this be a natural spirit spring? The summit of the main peak happened to be the source of the spring. When Yi Zifeng saw Xiao Chen sizing up the place out of curiosity, he said softly, "The entire blessed land is a natural spirit spring. At every moment, it spews out surging spiritual energy. The summit of the 2 main peaks is the source of the spring. In the entire Grave Sea, most of the spiritual energy comes from the 3 blessed lands. In the past few years, I have been in closed-door cultivation here and rarely come out." When Xiao Chen heard that, he felt slightly startled. This was because of Yi Zifeng's aura, which drifted in the world, seemed to exist yet not exist at the same time. Yi Zifeng was clearly one cultivation realm higher than the star venerates that Xiao Chen had met before. Xiao Chen wondered why Yi Zifeng was still in closed-door cultivation. "Big brother Yi does not seem to be a star venerate anymore. I was no longer one 5 years ago. In that case, why are you still in closed-door cultivation? Since Yi Zifeng already broke through, what was the point of remaining in closed-door cultivation? He should be traveling the world. He should be exchanging moves with people of the same cultivation realm, verifying his gains from closed-door cultivation, and comprehending them again." Yi Zifeng smiled faintly and did not answer. It seemed like there was more to this. Then he changed the topic and asked, "Junior brother, are you avoiding trouble?" This question startled Xiao Chen. He looked at Yi Zifeng with some surprise. Before he said anything, Yi Zifeng already knew. Foresight? Don't find it strange. I know your origins. You should be from the same place as Master, both from the Kunlun realm. As a fellow bladesman, I can tell your talent and strength. If you want to enter a sect, this purple flame sect will not be able to accommodate you. Instead, it will hold you back." Yi Zifeng gave his analysis, speaking in an unhurried manner. "Most bladesmen are proud. Unless there is something difficult to deal with, you would not place your hopes on me, a senior brother that you have never met before." The other party's tone was calm, and his expression was calm. His eyes, which were not particularly bright, looked like they could see through everything in the world. Xiao Chen felt startled in his heart. After thinking for a long time, he finally thought of a word to describe this cheap senior brother of his. Down to earth. That's right, down to earth. Yi Zifeng did not put on the airs of a senior expert, pretending to be profound. He was also not overly enthusiastic, making others feel that he was hypocritical. Yi Zifeng's tone was calm, and his attitude was gentle. He spoke in an unhurried manner, but it made others feel convinced. For some reason, Xiao Chen had a favorable impression of Yi Zifeng. He performed a cupped fist salute and said, "Big brother Yi, your analysis is right. Xiao Chen is indeed here to avoid trouble." In the end, Xiao Chen was still too shy to address Yi Zifeng as senior brother, so he could only address Yi Zifeng as big brother. Without hiding anything, Xiao Chen told Yi Zifeng about how he met the Jiao snake, and how the Black Lotus Church strangely hunted him down. Yi Zifeng listened calmly. When Xiao Chen finished, he did not rush to answer, revealing a contemplative expression. For a holy venerate to show such an expression, the Black Lotus Church's matter was not simple. Xiao Chen could not help feeling nervous. Actually, he had heard about it long ago. The Black Lotus Church was an extremely special faction in the Grave Sea cluster. This was especially so for the Black Lotus Church's churchmaster, who was exceptionally mysterious. The Black Lotus Church is somewhat difficult to deal with. I'll do my best. Yi Zifeng did not say anything definite. He looked at Xiao Chen and said, "There's no need to rush. I can tell from your aura that you are about to break through. During this period of time, just stay at my place and cultivate properly. If you need anything, you can mention it to your martial nephew. I'll introduce you to him first." Martial nephew? That should be the disciple that the red-clad administrator mentioned. The one that Yi Zifeng reluctantly accepted. Yi Zifeng's lips moved slightly, and an invisible fluctuation spread out in the air. After a while, A sharp aura came from the middle of the mountain. A nimble figure leaped up the steep mountain path. Xiaochen muttered in his heart, entering deep thought. Why does this aura feel somewhat familiar? When that person landed excitedly on the mountain and rushed over to Yi Zifeng, Xiaochen's expression froze slightly. Xiaochen was slightly startled, and he tried hard not to laugh. He looked calm and unfathomable. The newcomer was quite young, and there was an unconcealable arrogance between his brows. His sharpness was unbridled. At such a young age, Xiaochen already broke through peak minor primal core and reached early stage major primal core. There was also an indistinct great desolate Ian aura from his body, giving off an ancient aura. It was none other than Lingyu, whom Xiaochen had met a few times before. This was the Lingyu who had won more than 30 matches in a row in the Pirate Hall, and arranged a duel with the elegant youth of the heavenly shaking mountain, Jiang Xian. Lingyu had also noticed Xiaochen. He showed a stunned expression, but before he could ask any questions, Xiaochen suddenly appeared in front of him. Yi Zifeng said calmly, "Lingyu, greet your martial uncle Xiaochen." Ah! Lingyu was immediately flabbergasted. A very interesting expression on his face. He was sure that he hadn't heard wrongly. He knew the meaning of every single word his master had said, but after putting them together, he was really confused about what they meant. Lingyu looked at Xiaochen, then at Yi Zifeng. "Master, are you messing with me? You must be messing with me, messing with me, messing with me." However, when Lingyu saw Yi Zifeng's certain expression, he turned completely flustered. He revealed a smile that was even uglier than crying. Then he performed a cupped fist salute and bowed. "Lingyu greets martial uncle Xiaochen." Xiaochen laughed loudly in his heart. He felt that it was really worth it to acknowledge this senior brother. Back then, this Lingyu felt that he was superior and thought that Xiaochen wanted to befriend him, so he coldly and nobly rejected Xiaochen. Although Xiaochen was broad-minded and did not mind, he was not a saint, so he could not help feeling displeased. Seeing the other party's expression now, Xiaochen felt incomparably delighted. Xiaochen smiled and said, "Martial nephew is too polite. In the future, I will have to ask martial nephew to take care of me." Yi Zifeng nodded seriously and said, "Your martial uncle will be staying here for a period. If there are any trivial matters, I will leave them to you." Your martial uncle. These were 3 very ordinary words. However, when Lingyu heard them, they sounded like cursing, even more unpleasant to the ear than your grandfather. Chapter 1660. Naturally, a disciple did not dare to disobey his master's orders. Lingyu smiled with a crying face. This disciple will definitely obey master's orders. Yi Zifeng smiled in satisfaction. Although the sect master had forced this disciple on him, he was pretty good in all aspects. Be it talent, toughness, or bloodline power, Lingyu was not cut out for the saber. However, back then, he could not resist the sect master's request to take Lingyu in as a disciple. Although Yi Zifeng was not very good at fist techniques, he had no problem giving pointers and teaching Lingyu. More importantly, Yi Zifeng was very knowledgeable and had a high cultivation. The other elders of the sect could not compare to him in terms of experience. Even if Lingyu was not a grandmaster in fist techniques, he would be much better off cultivating under him than under the other elders. To Lingyu, this was an exceptionally precious opportunity to become Yi Zifeng's disciple. Normally, Lingyu studied diligently and improved rapidly, not disappointing Yi Zifeng. The relationship between master and disciple was pretty good. "I'm going to meet the sect master. I'll leave your martial uncle to you first. Don't neglect him. Do your best to fulfill any requests he has." "Yes." Yi Zifeng's figure flashed, vanishing from the summit. Clearly, he needed to personally explain the matter with Xiaochen to the sect master. After his master left, Lingyu's expression changed. He looked at Xiaochen with a smile that did not seem like a smile. "Young Master Xiao, you are really something. It has only been a short 1 or 2 months, and you have already become my martial uncle. I really misjudged you back then." Xiaochen did not care. He smiled softly and said, "Martial nephew, don't forget what my senior brother said. Lead the way." When Lingyu thought of this, he immediately felt depressed. He said dejectedly, "Come with me. I'll find a place for you to stay first. I don't know how Master will arrange for you either. You can stay in my courtyard first. As they descended the mountain, Xiaochen finally got a taste of the purple flame sect's grandeur. All sorts of rare fruits could be seen here, adorning both sides of the road and growing casually among the weeds. No one paid any attention to them. It was like they were used to it, like they were really weeds. With just a glance, one would discover that there was an ancient palace behind a certain forest. It was unknown how long it had existed. This palace gave off an ancient aura, and an expert guarded it. With a quick check, one discovered that it was actually a cloud sea star venerate. With a single glare, everyone was so scared that they didn't dare to look at him anymore. Occasionally, disciples who passed by would respectfully greet Lingyu as martial uncle when they saw him. Xiaochen felt enlightened. Senior Yi Zifeng is the sect master's martial uncle. Lingyu might be young, but he is of the same generation as the sect master in the Purple Flame sect. Usually it was others who called him senior uncle. Today, the tables had turned, and it was finally his turn. Moreover, it was the person he had once coldly rejected. It was to be expected that his expression would turn ugly. In the past, when others called him martial uncle, Lingyu would feel pleased. The way he was addressed as martial uncle sounded extremely awkward to him. It felt like he was being scolded. He kept a straight face, feeling depressed and unhappy. Here, this is the courtyard where I usually cultivate. There are also a few side rooms. You can choose anyone. Lingyu stopped in front of a courtyard filled with spiritual energy halfway up the mountain. The Purple Flame sect had a strict hierarchy. Outer sect disciples usually lived and cultivated at the foot of the mountain where the spirit chi was the weakest. Only inner sect disciples could advance further up the mountain. The middle of the mountain was for core disciples like Lingyu. Further up was the elite disciples and elders of the sect. As for the peak of the mountain with dense spirit energy that was like a seven-colored mist, it was the privilege of an extremely small number of people. Xiaochen sized up the courtyard and praised. Good place. The location of this courtyard at the middle of the mountain is the best. The spiritual energy here is the densest, and the environment is elegant. There is even a mountain spring and a waterfall in the backyard. Lingyu revealed a cocky expression. Of course. Take a look at whose courtyard this is. Although I am not a true inheritor yet, I am still young and have the bloodline of the great desolate Eon's 10,000 races. The sect master even arranged for me to be under master. It's just a fine residence. What's the big deal? Xiaochen nodded. You have a future. However, can martial uncle be an ordinary guest? There is no reason for you to stay in a side room. Little martial nephew, don't you agree? What do you mean? You want me to stay in a side room? This is my courtyard. Xiaochen said straightforwardly. That makes sense. In that case, I'll stay at senior brother's place. The spiritual energy is dense, and the air is pretty good. After saying that, Xiaochen turned and left. Lingyu immediately felt incredibly angry. However, he remembered his master's instructions. After all, if he chased Xiaochen out, that would be terrible. Putting on a smile, Lingyu stepped forward and pulled Xiaochen back. Martial uncle, don't be angry. Can I sleep in a side room? However, I never like to force others. Haha, it's fine, it's fine. Sleeping in a side room occasionally is actually not bad. I will stay here for at least half a year, Xiaochen said emotionlessly. Lingyu's expression froze. Then he smiled stiffly and said, Is that so? That's good. I want to get to know martial uncle better. Lingyu's half-pulling and half-inviting finally got Xiaochen to change his mind. Then he said weakly, Let's do this then. Martial uncle, if you need anything, just call me at any time. Xiaochen nodded and sat in the main seat of the main room. Then he said casually, Bring me a cup of tea first. Are you sure? Lingyu felt somewhat angry. Xiaochen really treated him like a servant. Xiaochen smiled leisurely and said, After traveling so hard, I finally managed to sit down and brew a cup of tea for martial uncle. I can't even do that? Is this considered taking care of me? Martial nephew, is this how you normally treat your seniors? Good, good, good. After saying good 3 times, Ling Yu, who had never brewed tea before, took out a tea set and started to prepare the tea leaves and spring water, getting busy. On the other side, when Yi Zifeng saw the Purple Flame sect master, he quickly explained the matter of Xiaoqun in a few words. The Purple Flame sect master said sullenly, "Martial uncle, you must take care of this matter." Yi Zifeng replied calmly, "Naturally. I owe master a great debt of gratitude. There is no reason not to take care of his descendant." "All right. What help do you need? Martial uncle can use all the resources of the Purple Flame sect." After testing Yi Zifeng's attitude, the Purple Flame sect master quickly made a decision. Xiaoqun was just a minor character. However, Yi Zifeng was the anchor of the Purple Flame sect. Since Yi Zifeng expressed his stance, the Black Lotus Church could only brace themselves and offend him. There's no need. This is a private matter of Pan Huang's line. It has nothing to do with the Purple Flame sect. I only need the sect's Starry Sky teleportation formation to teleport me to the nearest place to the Black Lotus world. The Grave Sea cluster had countless great realms. Even a holy venerate would not be able to reach some places within a short time. Only with the help of a Starry Sky teleportation formation would one be able to travel from one great realm to another in an instant. The sect leader was taken aback. "We're leaving now? We'll do our best. Naturally, the earlier we leave, the better. I'll make up for the resources needed to activate the Starry Sky teleportation formation." Right after Yi Zifeng spoke, he walked out of the great hall of the sect. His footsteps seemed slow but were actually urgent. He returned to the saber rack in the room and took out a saber. Then he turned around and stepped into the Starry Sky transportation formation. Light flickered. In the next moment, he appeared in a transmission array that was countless great worlds away. The people at the transportation formation only heard the hum of a saber. They did not see anyone teleporting over. This was because Yi Zifeng had already turned into a saber light and arrived at the foot of the Black Lotus Church's holy mountain. Along the mountain path, he walked step by step. The surrounding formation, the guards and the monks did not notice this living person, be it in the open or in the dark. On the Black Lotus throne in the Holy Palace, the Black Lotus sect venerate suddenly opened his eyes. At some point in time, Yi Zifeng had arrived in the Great Hall. "What wind blew the strongest bladesman of the Grave Sea from the Purple Flame sect to me?" The Black Lotus sect venerate asked indifferently with a grave expression, not showing any joy or anger. Xiaoqun was someone who had faced a sovereign personage before. He had seen all sorts of situations and would not be frightened by a bladesman. Yi Zifeng remained expressionless. With just one look, he knew that he was not a match for this Black Lotus sect venerate. At the very least, he wouldn't be a match for the other party in the sacred mountain. However, it did not matter. He had never thought of actually killing the other party. If he could kill the other party, he wouldn't feel that this matter was too difficult to deal with. All he needed to do was draw his saber. Just one draw would suffice. In the next moment, a shocking Buddhist voice came from the Holy Palace. A saber light shot out of the Holy Palace, and the tall Buddha statue in the mountain collapsed. Yi Zifeng knelt on one knee outside the gates. The saber in his right hand stabbed 1 centimeter into the ground. Yi Zifeng coughed, and a large mouthful of blood fell to the ground. Then he suddenly looked up, and discovered a white snow lotus blooming not far away. Yi Zifeng revealed a smile, and reached out to pluck the snow lotus. His figure drifted gently like the wind, returning to the transportation formation of the nearby Great Realm. A light flickered, and Yi Zifeng took a step forward, appearing outside Ling Yu's courtyard. At this moment, Ling Yu's tea was halfway brewed, and its fragrance was at its strongest. Ling Yu suddenly looked up and happened to see Yi Zifeng. He smiled and said, "Master, I'm brewing tea for Martial Uncle. You should try it as well." Yi Zifeng smiled warmly and said, "Not bad." As Yi Zifeng passed by, he plucked a few snow lotus petals and gently placed them in the water. Yi Zifeng casually sat down beside Xiaoqun and handed the snow lotus to Xiaoqun. "In the past, I heard Master say that the snow lotus that grows in darkness and filth is the most beautiful. Today, I finally got to see it for myself. This is a greeting gift for you." Xiao Chen received the snow lotus with a somewhat strange expression. Yi Zifeng had brought a saber in. Furthermore, it was a saber that had just been stained with blood. Chapter 1661. Soon Lingyu brought over 2 cups of tea and handed one to Xiao Chen and one to Yi Zifeng. Master, martial uncle, please have some tea. Yi Zifeng nodded and gestured for Lingyu to leave first. Xiao Chen picked up the teacup and took a sip. Naturally, he did not know how Lingyu brewed tea. However, after adding a few snow lotus petals, the tea had a different taste. It had a slightly bitter taste that made one reminisce. After putting down the teacup, Xiao Chen said softly, "Senior brother, you brought your saber out." Yi Zifeng nodded. "I made a trip to the Black Lotus Church's holy mountain and helped you resolve some of your problems for now." This revelation startled Xiao Chen. He had not expected Yi Zifeng to make a trip to the Black Lotus Church without saying anything. Although the Black Lotus Church was also in the Grave Sea cluster, the distance was more than hundreds of millions of kilometers. This was truly unexpected. Xiao Chen retrieved his saber and went to the Black Lotus Church, resolving the matter. After leaving and returning, Lingyu's tea had not even heated up yet. The shock in Xiao Chen's heart was indescribable, completely stupefied. Senior brother fought with the Black Lotus Church's sect venerate? Yi Zifeng put down the teacup and said, "I used 1 saber strike, and he used 3 palm strikes. The Black Lotus Church's sect venerate will not be able to personally make a move against you for 10 years. Without a miracle, I will not be able to recover my cultivation to that of a holy venerate within 5 years." When Xiao Chen heard that, he was startled again. Yi Zifeng spoke so casually and calmly. However, Xiao Chen could imagine how dangerous that exchange was. The Black Lotus Church's sect venerate's strength also surpassed Xiao Chen's imagination. With 3 palm strikes, he managed to force Yi Zifeng's cultivation to drop by 1 cultivation grade. Yi Zifeng would not be able to recover within 5 years. However, Yi Zifeng's strength was also startling. With just 1 saber strike, the Black Lotus Church's sect venerate would not be able to recover within 10 years. This indeed helped Xiao Chen relieve a lot of pressure, rendering Xiao Chen somewhat speechless. He did not know how to thank this senior brother whom he had just met. Yi Zifeng said softly, "The Black Lotus sect venerate is a sovereign personage in the first place. In the past few years, he has been recovering his strength. This attack of mine worsened his injuries, preventing him from worrying about you." Xiao Chen said, "But senior brother, you..." Yi Zifeng smiled faintly and waved his hand saying, "It's fine. It's just 5 years. To me it's very short. Once I digest the energy of these 3 palm strikes, I might be able to advance to the next level." It's hard to say whether it's a blessing or a curse. Seeing Yi Zifeng's attitude, Xiao Chen was filled with admiration. There were very few people that he truly respected in his life. No matter what, Yi Zifeng was one of them. What about this snow lotus? When mentioning the snow lotus, Yi Zifeng revealed a gentle smile. "I was lucky. When he sent me flying, I happened to bump into this snow lotus when I landed. If you consume all of this snow lotus, you will be able to weaken the Black Lotus seal in your body to the minimum. At that time, I will use some external force to help you clear it completely." Given this, the Black Lotus Church's pressure on Xiao Chen practically vanished. The Black Lotus sect venerate could not personally make a move. Once the Black Lotus seal was removed, his subordinates would not be able to find him either. 10 more years. After 10 years, everything would be possible. Perhaps it would not be the Black Lotus sect venerate coming to find Xiao Chen, but Xiao Chen personally charging over. "Junior brother, cultivate properly. If you have any problems with the saber, you can seek guidance from me at any time," Yi Zifeng said in unison. Yi Zifeng said in unison. Holding his saber, he stepped forward, moving like the wind as he headed for the summit. As Xiao Chen watched Yi Zifeng leave, he felt deeply moved. Thousands of thoughts flashed through his mind. Xiao Chen dealt with the great worry that he had for a long time just like that. Yi Zifeng came and went in a hurry like Yi Suifeng, dealing with it with 1 saber strike. Xiao Chen felt like a heavy burden had been lifted from his shoulders. However, this senior brother's concern also made him feel a heavy warmth. Honestly speaking, before coming, Xiaochen did not hold out much hope. No matter what, his relationship with Yi Zifeng was somewhat strained. Xiaochen had only obtained Pan Huang's inheritance in the Kunlun realm, and had not even met Pan Huang. However, this Yi Zifeng did not hesitate to acknowledge him as his junior brother. No matter what, Xiaochen had to repay this favor in the future. Although his senior brother always showed a warm smile, Xiaochen could sense that Yi Zifeng, who had been guarding the summit for 10 years, had to be hiding something. Dong, dong, dong. Footsteps rang out, and Ling Yu walked in from outside. He stared at the 10,000-year-old snow lotus beside Xiaochen with a fervent gaze. His master never gave gifts easily. However, once he did, it would surpass one's imagination. After receiving Yi Zifeng's greeting gift, Ling Yu felt deeply moved as he walked over. With one glance, he could tell that this snow lotus was something good. Even better than the one Yi Zifeng gave him. Ling Yu felt envious. Ling Yu poked his nose twice and smiled in a fawning manner. "Martial uncle, what good thing did master give me? Let me take a look." Seeing Ling Yu's appearance, Xiaochen could not help giggling. In the end, Ling Yu was still young. He could not hide his thoughts on his face. Xiaochen said casually, 10,000-year-old snow lotus. I heard that it was found in the darkest and dirtiest places. I just drank a cup of snow lotus tea and felt my mind clear up. A natural treasure that increases comprehension ability. Ling Yu exclaimed with certainty, his eyes lighting up. Then he looked and saw that Yi Zifeng had not finished the tea in his cup yet. He picked it up and gulped it down in one breath. This action startled Xiaochen. How could one drink tea like that? Furthermore, it was still scalding hot. Pooh! So bitter. It scalded me. Ling Yu spat out all the tea in one breath. Then he opened his mouth and exhaled. His face looked as unsightly as if he had eaten a yellow lotus. However, when Ling Yu saw the tea on the ground, he smacked his forehead, feeling an incredible heartache. Heavenly treasures that could increase one's perception were spat out by him just like that. Xiaochen smiled and said, "This is the Buddhist sect's snow lotus. It can calm the heart and ward off evil. The one that increases comprehension ability is the Bodhi tea. Martial nephew, you should read more books." Ling Yu retorted angrily, "You actually lied to me and made a fool of me." Xiaochen smiled and said, "You did not know the severity of the tea, which is why it was so hot. As for increasing comprehension ability, it was your own assumption. I did not even have time to remind you." Ling Yu felt stifled when he heard that. He pointed at Xiaochen, not knowing how to rebut. Xiaochen plucked a few snow lotus leaves and handed them to Ling Yu. Then he put them away and said, "If you run into berserking qi deviation or feel restless, there is no need to drink tea. Just keep one in your mouth. The effects are pretty good." Ling Yu did not know how important the snow lotus was to Xiaochen, so he accepted it without thanking him. Feeling depressed, Ling Yu turned to leave. Xiaochen took out a jade bottle and called out, "I don't have any natural treasures that increase comprehension ability. However, do you need natural treasures that strengthen the physique and aid in breaking through bottlenecks?" Ling Yu quickly turned around and smiled. "Martial uncle, if you want to give your martial nephew a greeting gift, there is no need to be so polite. It is only right for your martial nephew to serve you." Even though Ling Yu said those words, he still directly grabbed the jade bottle in his hand. "It is not really a greeting gift. I am very interested in how you activate the great desolate Ian bloodline in your body," Xiaochen said softly. Upon hearing that, Ling Yu looked around. Then he asked, "Why do you want to know about this? Is there no way to activate your bloodline? That makes sense. I have never seen or heard of this bloodline before. It is probably inherited through a generation. However, you want to use a small bottle of natural treasures that increase the physique to exchange for this secret? Martial uncle, your thinking is too simple." Xiaochen smiled and said, "Open it and take a look first. It will not be too late to say that after that." Ling Yu opened the bottle cap suspiciously. The instant the bottle opened, an ancient and dense aura of life spread out. A spot of golden light flickered in the bottle. Ling Yu exclaimed excitedly, "Life juice source. Furthermore, it is of the highest quality. This is of a higher grade than what the sect keeps." After saying that, Ling Yu did not hesitate to pick up the jade bottle and pour it into his mouth. Who cares? I'll drink it first before talking. After I drink it, I'll toy with you again. I just won't tell you the secret of activating the great desolate Ian bloodline. Ling Yu revealed a malicious smile as he opened his mouth wide, his tongue hanging out. However, even after waiting for a long time, he did not see the life juice source pour out. Feeling it strange, Ling Yu looked at the bottle's mouth. He saw a small drop of golden life juice source trickling out of the bottle cap with much difficulty. The life juice source gave off a golden light, clearly visible. However, there was only one drop, so it could not be poured out. Xiaochen took out another jade bottle and gently shook it in his hand, giving off the sound of liquid sloshing. Ling Yu put down the jade bottle and said angrily, "You're messing with me again." Xiaochen smiled warmly and said, "Not really. I did not say that there would definitely be the golden life juice source in there. Furthermore, martial nephew, you are very impatient. I have to be on guard." Ling Yu thought of the matter of drinking tea earlier, and he blushed, feeling somewhat embarrassed. However, in the blink of an eye, Ling Yu chuckled and said, "Martial uncle, I've been worrying about your identity. I forgot that you are only a half-step primal core cultivator." Xiaochen asked calmly, "What are you trying to do?" "Haha." Ling Yu laughed loudly. "Martial uncle, you have traveled the world. Have you ever heard of killing people to snatch their treasures? Today watch as I, Ling Yu, beat someone up and snatch their treasures. Who cares? I'll beat you up first. If you don't hand it over, I'll keep beating you up." Xiaochen revealed a strange smile. "Are you sure? Why would I be sure? I've wanted to beat you up for a long time." Chapter 1662. Ling Yu threw caution to the wind. He had been dissatisfied with Xiaochen in the first place, looking down on him all this while. Now Ling Yu became his martial uncle in the blink of an eye, needing him to take care of him. Originally, it would have been fine if Ling Yu tolerated it. However, Ling Yu tricked him twice, and there was the temptation of the golden life juice source. Of course, Ling Yu would not really do anything to Xiaochen. He would just beat him up and snatch the life juice source. At that time, when Ling Yu's master blamed him, he could just say that he was discussing the martial Dao with his martial uncle. In any case, Ling Yu would not really do anything to Ling Yu. Right after Ling Yu spoke, he chuckled and launched himself at Xiaochen. A strong aura spread out from his body, firmly suppressing Xiaochen. After firmly suppressing Xiaochen, he punched at Xiaochen's chest. Xiaochen smiled faintly as he sat on the chair. 3 cauldron force gathered in his body and punched as well. Boom! The 2 fists clashed, and a loud sound rang out. Ling Yu, who had used less than half his strength, was caught off guard. He was sent flying, and a look of shock appeared on his face. Ling Yu stumbled a few steps before he managed to stabilize himself. He simply could not tell how strong Xiaochen's vital qi was. That was natural. Unless one was at Yi Zifeng's level, no one could tell that Xiaochen's physical body already rivaled that of an early-stage major primal core venerate. A casual punch already contained 3 cauldron force. There was no need for him to gather it. I underestimated martial uncle. To think that you even cultivated vital qi. However, it is futile. Ling Yu did not care. After all, he had only used 20% of his strength in the earlier punch. He had not been serious at all. Xiaochen smiled faintly and suddenly stood up. At this moment, he burst forth with a startling speed. He executed the new fish dragon art, and his veritable essence energy protected his body. As his body rubbed against the air, his veritable essence energy burned into a purple flame. Xiaochen turned into a flaming phantom and punched without hesitation. For the sake of bringing out his speed to its limits, this punch's might was actually limited. However, at this speed, Ling Yu, who was still speaking, could not see it clearly at such a close distance. Pa! A dark circle immediately appeared in Ling Yu's right eye, turning red and swollen. It was so painful that Ling Yu cried out and retreated. "Martial uncle, you're really fast." Ling Yu's right eye hurt. He felt his vision distort and blur, and he sucked in a breath of cold air. In response to him, Xiaochen threw another punch, and a black eye ring appeared on his left eye. Xiaochen shook his head inwardly. He said that he wanted to beat him up, but he was not serious at all. He looked down on him and was full of flaws. His combat experience was pitifully little. His stance and his gestures were not perfect at all. Forget it. I'll give you a good beating. Martial uncle, I'm really angry. After being struck twice, Ling Yu was thoroughly enraged. He no longer held back, and his aura burst forth. Xiaochen circulated his veritable essence energy and brought out his early-stage minor primal core cultivation. It had to be said that when Ling Yu used his full power, his aura was much stronger than that of the early-stage major primal core venerates that Xiaochen had seen before. His true qi was condensed and heavy, incomparably vigorous. With a single glance, one could tell that his true element boundaries foundation was very solid. He had also put in a lot of effort in his daily cultivation. However, he was still lacking that little bit of maturity. His killing qi was insufficient. If Ling Yu faced an experienced person like Elder Tang, he would lose in 10 moves without activating his bloodline. Ling Yu, who used his full power, was filled with confidence this time. He no longer used an ordinary punch. Instead, he used his best martial technique, the cloud-shattering heavenly star fist. When Ling Yu punched, it was like a star falling, tearing through the clouds. In that instant, it scattered the clouds for 5,000 kilometers around. This fist drew out boundless resplendent starlight without any obstruction. This was the state that Ling Yu used for this punch. This Ling Yu was indeed a genius. At such a young age, he already comprehended the true meaning of the fist technique. No wonder Ling Yu could win 20-odd consecutive victories in the pirate hall back then, shining with unparalleled sharpness and attracting everyone's attention. Unfortunately, Ling Yu ran into Xiaochen. Xiaochen was a demonic genius with even more horrifying talent than Ling Yu, more experience than Ling Yu's master, more combat experience than the elders of the sect, and a mental state equal to the Purple Flame Sect's sect master. Whoosh! The Taiji diagram in Xiaochen's dantian that looked like an ink painting slowly spun. Immediately, light flickered in Xiaochen's surroundings. The light of the Taiji diagram was like ripples on water, reflecting on the ground and walls as it moved slowly. When Ling Yu executed the flawless saber Dao at this moment, it appeared incredibly heavy. Ling Yu's clothes fluttered like a saber falling to the ground, shocking a city. His fine black hair fluttered in the wind, looking like thousands of sabers stained with blood qi being drawn at the same time. Amid the clanging sounds, a heavy killing qi soared into the clouds and shook the surroundings. Xiaochen used his palm as a saber and executed the flawless saber technique's falling moon stance. A saber light flashed, and a figure soared into the air, descending the moon. Boom! The falling moon was accompanied by a saber light as it clashed with Ling Yu's berserk punch, which was like a star breaking through the clouds. The entire courtyard trembled. Xiaochen shattered Ling Yu's punch that turned into a star with one saber strike. The starlight scattered, and Ling Yu went flying back again. Ling Yu revealed an extremely incredulous expression, not daring to believe that Xiaochen, a half-step primal core cultivator, actually surpassed him in strength. Little martial nephew, it is very dangerous to let your thoughts run wild during a huge battle. Xiaochen smiled faintly. At this moment, the killing qi all over his body turned into a cold intent spreading out. Ling Yu's body immediately stiffened, and his heart sank. He felt an intense chill spread from his heart to his entire body. Before Ling Yu could disperse the chill, Xiaochen struck him with a palm strike and knocked him down from the air. Ling Yu landed heavily, and intense pain immediately filled his entire body. Ling Yu could not help cursing in his heart. This martial uncle is really ruthless in his attacks. Just as Ling Yu was about to get up, he discovered that a scabbard had pressed against his chest at some point in time. That scabbard was like a tall mountain pressing down on him. It blocked all of Ling Yu's qi. If Ling Yu tried to force his way through, he might instantly pierce through his chest. With this thought, Ling Yu could not help revealing some fear in his heart. This was especially so when he looked at Xiaochen's cold face, which gave him a strange chill. If Ling Yu really tried to force his way through, this martial uncle would definitely pierce through his chest without hesitation. Ling Yu's complexion immediately paled. "Martial uncle, you aren't here for real, right?" Ling Yu said, forcing a smile. However, the killing qi coming from Xiaochen intensified, making Ling Yu's breathing heavier. He said, killing people for their treasures? With your level, you want to kill people for their treasures? That's impossible. This Ling Yu was really stupid. Before him, Xiaochen could be considered the ancestor of killing people for their treasures. When Ling Yu killed people for their treasures, he was probably still wet behind the ears. Suddenly, Xiaochen saw Ling Yu's eyes tightly shut, his hands clenched tightly, trembling. Ling Yu's tightly shut eyes seemed somewhat moist. Xiaochen burst out in laughter. This child is about to cry from fright. This is really a sin. How am I going to explain this to my senior brother? Then Xiaochen removed the scabbard and smiled. Get up. Martial uncle, I'm not trying to kill you. Really not. Ling Yu did not dare to open his eyes. He just lay there without moving. I don't believe it. Even if he does not kill me, he will definitely beat me up. For safety's sake, Ling Yu made up his mind not to get up. This martial uncle had too many tricks up his sleeves. However, Ling Yu could not defeat him. This was simply too dangerous. Xiaochen smiled helplessly. Get up then. It's just life juice source. I'll give it to you. Really? Ling Yu said with a smile as he swiftly stood up with two panda eyes. Really? Xiaochen shook his head. Then he walked over and sat down again. Then he said seriously, however, you can't play any tricks on me. You have to tell me in detail how to activate the Great Desolate Aeon bloodline. How could Ling Yu dare to play any tricks? A crafty light flashed in his eyes as he smiled. However, martial uncle, you have to tell me how to temper my killing qi, right, and how to release and withdraw it as I please. You have to tell me as well. When Xiaochen saw the crafty light in Ling Yu's panda eyes, he could not help smiling. If Ling Yu was not greedy, he would not be Ling Yu. However, it was fortunate that Ling Yu knew the severity of the situation. At the last moment, he did not activate his bloodline to fight with Xiaochen. If Ling Yu had activated his bloodline, it would not have been as simple as two panda eyes. Xiaochen would have unleashed his great Dao energy as well. At that time, Ling Yu would not know the severity of the situation. Deal. Given Xiaochen's magnanimity, he naturally would not take such a loss, so he agreed straightforwardly. Ling Yu chuckled. He felt that although he got beaten up, he still profited. Ling Yu had forgotten that his original intention was to beat the other party up. Chapter 1663. After reaching a consensus, Xiaochen straightforwardly gave Ling Yu a bottle of golden life juice source, 5 kilograms. Ling Yu was truly startled. Unexpectedly, Xiaochen was so generous. This simply surpassed his imagination. As Ling Yu touched the bottle, he rejoiced, nearly dancing with joy. When Xiaochen saw Ling Yu's excited appearance, he smiled and said, "You are, after all, the top core disciple of a rank 4 sect. How could the sect lack resources for you? Is there a need to be so exaggerated?" Ling Yu sighed bitterly and said, "Martial uncle, you don't know this. Good things like raising the physique have always been rare. There is no market for them. The sect does not have much in store either. Every time, it is given to the true inheritors first before the core disciples. Unless I complete some sect missions, I will be rewarded with several taels of silver life juice source every time. This is completely incomparable to martial uncles." Xiaochen understood. Suddenly, he saw that Ling Yu was about to pour the life juice source into his mouth, so he quickly said, "Stop." "What's wrong?" Xiaochen said helplessly. "This thing is best used for bathing. It is best to supplement it with some other herbs to make it easier to absorb." Ling Yu slapped himself on the forehead and said, "I forgot about that. I nearly wasted a heavenly treasure. The main thing is that there was no way to bathe in it with the previous amount. Martial uncle, thank you for the reminder." Xiaochen smiled and said, "Don't be in such a hurry to remind me. It is time to fulfill your promise." Ling Yu put away the life juice source seriously and smiled. "That's easy. Although the Great Desolate Aeon bloodlines of the various clans are different, the activation methods are mostly the same. All you need to do is awaken the ancient spirit hidden in the bloodline. In the future, if you want to activate it, all you need to do is think about it. Ancient spirit. That's right. No matter how many generations a great desolate Aeon bloodline passes down, there will always be some remnant soul in it. For example, my astral rock bloodline contains the remnant soul of an astral rock. After I awaken the remnant soul and merge it with my soul, I can activate it as I please. However, after activating a great desolate Aeon bloodline, there will be some corresponding restrictions. The stronger the physical body, the longer the bloodline will last after it is activated. Otherwise, if you exceed the limit, your physical body will suffer some repercussions. After all, your body is made of flesh and blood. It cannot be compared to the 10,000 races of the untainted land. Xiaochen nodded thoughtfully and said, "How to activate the remnant soul in the bloodline? I have a remnant blood soul summoning art here. Most people with great desolate Aeon bloodlines know a similar soul summoning art." After receiving the remnant blood soul summoning art, Xiaochen entered deep thought. Then, he suddenly looked at Lingyu and discovered that Lingyu was trying hard to hold back a smile. He immediately understood and said, "This remnant blood soul summoning technique sounds scary, but it's actually a common technique, right?" Lingyu was startled. Then he could not help guffawing. Martial Uncle is really smart. The sect will give a copy to any disciple with a special bloodline for free. The price outside is only a few hundred medial-grade spirit jades. Xiaochen was suddenly enlightened. No wonder this guy laughed so hard that he almost jumped up. It turned out that Xiaochen had used only 300 spirit jades to exchange for a bottle of golden life juice source. Anyone would be overjoyed. "Martial Uncle, are you angry?" Lingyu asked somewhat nervously when he saw Xiaochen's expression. Xiaochen flipped through the remnant blood soul summoning art and smiled softly. "You're overthinking. This thing was originally a greeting gift for you. I still have 1 or 2 tons of it on hand. Originally, I was planning to let you cleanse your bones a few times. After hearing what you said about the sex treatment, I feel that there is no need. I feel that this is already good enough." When Lingyu heard that, the smile on his face vanished. He showed a dispirited expression as he said, "Martial Uncle, don't. I was wrong." Xiaochen smiled faintly and said, "It depends on your performance then." Lingyu felt regret in his heart. Why did I have to play that little trick? This is great. My losses are too great. Lingyu felt a pang of heartache. The joy of obtaining 5 tons of golden life juice source vanished, leaving him as depressed as he could be. Never mind. Let's not talk about this. I would like to ask Martial Uncle how to temper my killing chi, to allow me to release and withdraw it as I please. Just like Martial Uncle, your killing chi is as heavy as a mountain, making it hard for others to breathe. Upon hearing that, Xiaochen closed the remnant blood soul summoning art. Then he revealed a complicated expression as he looked at Lingyu and asked, "How old are you this year?" In reply to Martial Uncle, Lingyu just turned 20 this year. "I entered the main sect at the age of 15, and have been cultivating for 5 years already." What was he doing when he was 20? The geniuses of the Great Thousand Realms were truly blessed. Xiaochen felt somewhat melancholic. Then he suddenly smiled and said, "I'm 30-odd this year." Lingyu did not hear the vicissitudes in Xiaochen's words. Finding it strange, he asked, "What's wrong with 30-odd? In this Great Thousand Realms, everyone has a long lifespan. 50 is still considered young. Could it be that it has something to do with age?" Lingyu tilted his head, revealing a confused expression. "That's not right either. The true inheritors of our main sect are all much older than Martial Uncle. However, I have never seen such a terrifying killing chi before, making one's breathing feel somewhat rushed." Xiaochen collected his thoughts and said softly, "Killing chi needs to be slowly accumulated before it can go from quantitative to qualitative. There are no shortcuts." Upon hearing this, Lingyu could not help feeling disappointed. This was different from what he had imagined. Where did Xiaochen's killing chi come from? In the Sky Dome realm and the Kunlun realm, he had experienced too many massacres. There were countless battles of various sizes. While there were not tens of thousands, there were at least thousands. Lingyu could not compare to Xiaochen. He was simply too young, just like Xiaochen, who was 20 years old. He was as inexperienced as Lingyu, perhaps even far inferior. If you want to take a shortcut, That is actually possible. Ling Yu's eyes lit up. What method? Xiao Chen smiled mysteriously, causing Ling Yu to tremble. Martial uncle, don't scare me like that. 3 days from now, exchange moves with me for 4 hours every day for a month. Although your killing chi cannot grow, you can get used to the enemy's killing chi. You will not be as inexperienced as you were today. When Ling Yu heard that, he felt somewhat startled. Could it be that he had to go through the same experience every day? However, Ling Yu immediately thought of something. He nodded seriously and said, "All right. I'll ask senior brother for guidance 3 days from now." After saying that, Ling Yu headed straight inside. Xiao Chen pointed outside and said, "Little martial nephew, your room is outside." Ling Yu smiled awkwardly. "Sorry, I'm used to it. I'm used to it." After Ling Yu left, Xiao Chen started reading the Remnant Blood Soul Summoning Art again, entering deep thought. There were 2 urgent matters at hand. One was to break through, and the other was to activate the Blue Dragon bloodline. Regardless of which he succeeded, his strength would soar by leaps and bounds, reaching a qualitative leap. There would also be more opportunities in the Fiendish Demon battlefield 2 months from now. Based on what Ling Yu said, the Purple Flame sect had a mysterious true inheritor with a status equal to that of a sect elder. These true inheritors were much stronger than Xiao Chen. At that time, he would have to compete with these people, and could not underestimate them. Of the 2 matters, Xiao Chen had to focus on one first. Only then would he be more efficient. After thinking for a while, Xiao Chen made his decision. He decisively chose to awaken the Blue Dragon's remnant soul in his bloodline first. After arriving at the cultivation room that Ling Yu usually stayed in, Xiao Chen looked around and felt very satisfied. Originally, he worried that awakening the Blue Dragon's remnant soul would cause a huge commotion. However, when he saw the layout of this cultivation room, he relaxed. There were many formations laid inside that could isolate the cultivator's aura. The Purple Flame sect had also put a lot of thought into the materials used to build the walls. The Purple Flame sect probably already had such considerations. After all, everyone had some secrets. The Purple Flame sect had to give its disciples a private place. Soul summoning. According to the book, the higher the quality of the bloodline, the stronger the ancient spirit that remains. The old dragon horse said that my bloodline is rank 8, which is stronger than any one of the entire dragon race's 6 bloodlines. Xiao Chen felt some anticipation in his heart. The old dragon horse said that the highest quality of the dragon race's bloodline was rank 7. There was something strange about Xiao Chen's rank 8 bloodline, so the old dragon horse told him not to tell anyone. After spending one night reading through the Remnant Blood Soul Summoning Art, Xiao Chen pondered it for another day, completely understanding the parts that he did not understand. Only when he was 100% confident did he start to make his move. According to the book, it was possible to fail in summoning the soul. Every failure would result in significant damage to the physical body and soul. It was still necessary to be careful. With some anticipation, Xiao Chen closed his eyes and circulated his veritable essence energy to circulate the Remnant Blood Soul Summoning Art. Xiao Chen's blood surged, and a terrifying aura from the Great Desolate Aeon came from his body. The formation responsible for isolating auras that spread throughout the cultivation room buzzed and trembled. Xiao Chen immediately cursed in his heart. He had underestimated the ancient spirit in his bloodline. This was just the beginning. When he formally summoned the spirit, his secret would definitely be exposed. At the summit, Yi Zifeng, who was cultivating with his eyes closed, opened his eyes. Many of the strong Cloud Sea elders also opened their eyes at the same time, revealing doubtful expressions. The Cloud Sea elders had already started cultivating soul energy, and were exceptionally sensitive to the aura of the ancient spirit. Chapter 1664. Just as Xiao Chen was caught between a rock and a hard place, and was about to give up for now, the formation in the entire room suddenly stabilized. Junior brother, just awaken your bloodline spirit in peace. I'll stand guard for you. Yi Zifeng's voice rang out in Xiao Chen's mind, calming him down. Many thanks, senior brother. The aura of the Blue Dragon's remnant soul vanished in a flash in the main peak of the Purple Flame sect. It had just attracted the attention of the Cloud Sea elders in the sect when it vanished again, undetectable. After a while, the Cloud Sea elders could only give up on searching, thinking that a disciple had failed to summon the blue dragon's soul. With his senior brother Yi Zifeng standing guard, Xiaochen calmed down and started circulating the remnant blood soul summoning art again. All the blood in Xiaochen's body surged continuously. A warmth appeared in Xiaochen's body. Then he felt like he was on fire. His skin turned fiery red. As the remnant blood soul summoning art continued to circulate, bits of azure light started to separate from his blood. His hot-bloodedness surged, and all the blood in his body started to separate azure light. After that, all the azure light rushed towards Xiaochen's brain. Xiaochen, who was already feeling very uncomfortable, felt dizzy from the heat. How can it be like this? This startled Xiaochen. He felt his rationality slipping away bit by bit. Anxiety and irritation spread in his mind, affecting Xiaochen's mind. Whoosh! Xiaochen, who was seated cross-legged, spat out a mouthful of turbid qi. Immediately, heat waves surged throughout the entire cultivation room. It was like a dragon's breath, horrifying and terrifying, accompanied by roars. The cultivation chamber began to tremble once again. The formation buzzed, and cracks began to appear on the walls. On the roof, Yi Zifeng furrowed his brows. He had already cultivated soul power. He who had already cultivated soul energy could clearly see an invisible dragon soul coiled in the room, wanting to soar into the sky and shake the heavens. Yi Zifeng gently drifted down and landed on the dragon's head, ruthlessly suppressing it. Which of the 6 bloodlines of the dragon race is this? The irritable aura is similar to the red dragon bloodline. However, how could a red dragon spirit look like this? Yi Zifeng was very knowledgeable. Back in the Central Great Realm, he had interacted with many major characters with great desolate bloodlines. As far as he could remember, there was no such lineage in the dragon clan. It was even more impossible for the pseudo-dragons or other branches to exist. The aura of Xiaochen's dragon soul was clearly stronger than that of the dragon race's 6 main bloodlines. How could it be a false dragon? His rationality told him that this matter was not simple, and he absolutely could not expose it. A gust of wind flashed past. His tall and straight body was like a sheathless blade. Strands of saber Dao great Dao energy emanated from Xiaochen's body. He used the Dao might to firmly suppress the dragon soul. Outside the courtyard, Lingyu had just finished preparing the supplementary herbs and bathed in the life juice source. Caught off guard, he was sent flying. This was a deterrence that came from the depths of his soul. It penetrated deep into his soul, causing his blood vessels to tremble. His entire body was prostrated on the ground, feeling waves of immense pressure. What happened? Blood leaked out of a corner of Lingyu's lips, and he panicked. Suddenly, he remembered the remnant blood soul summoning art that he gave to Xiaochen. Damn it! Nothing will happen to martial uncle. With this thought, Lingyu's expression changed slightly. As he stared at that immense pressure, he walked forward step by step. Lingyu looked towards his original cultivation room. A pair of azure-colored dragon eyes vaguely appeared, releasing a resplendent golden light. Whoosh! Lingyu vomited another mouthful of blood as he went flying again. Ancient spirit. It is the ancient spirit in martial uncle's body. Lying on the ground, Lingyu was deeply shocked. He had not expected the ancient spirit in Xiaochen's body to be so strong, so terrifyingly strong. His astral rock bloodline could not resist at all. Originally, Lingyu thought that the great desolate Ian bloodline in Xiaochen's body was already extremely thin and ranked at the back, far inferior to his astral rock bloodline. However, it looked like the bloodlines of the strongest 100 races of the great desolate Ian were only SOSO. What exactly are the origins of this martial uncle? Lingyu thought to himself. As he thought about his experiences with Xiaochen, he felt that Xiaochen's background was extremely mysterious. When he thought about how he had coldly rejected the other party back then, he could not help blushing. Lingyu, there's no need to get any closer. I'm standing guard for junior brother. Patrol the surroundings and don't let anyone near. Yi Zifeng's voice suddenly rang out in Lingyu's mind, startling him awake. It turned out that Master was already here. In that case, there was nothing to worry about. With Master around, that martial uncle Xiao Chen would definitely be fine. In Ling Yu's heart, Yi Zifeng was like a god. As long as Yi Zifeng was around, there was nothing that could not be resolved. After Ling Yu got up, he no longer barged into the courtyard. Instead, he obeyed his master's orders and patrolled the surroundings. Xiao Chen panted softly in the cultivation room. He felt some horror and fear in his heart. He only felt too hot and uncomfortable, wanting to breathe and relax. Unexpectedly, the panting uncontrollably turned into a deep dragon roar, making him feel even more uncomfortable. As the azure light that separated from his blood continuously gathered, a faint dragon soul formed in the depths of his soul. The next step was for this ancient dragon soul to merge with Xiao Chen's soul. After the merger succeeded, Xiao Chen would be able to activate his blue dragon bloodline as he pleased. Xiao Chen desperately needed the blue dragon bloodline. After seeing Ling Yu's combat prowess soar when he activated his bloodline, Xiao Chen had always had a desire in his heart. Xiao Chen had always had a desire in his heart. If he hid such a huge treasure in his body and could not use it, it would be a waste. However, the situation now was somewhat different from what Xiao Chen imagined. He felt that this dragon soul seemed to be vaguely taking over the dominant position. Could it be that after the merger, Xiao Chen would really turn into a dragon? His original consciousness would be completely erased. This kind of worry was something that no one could have anticipated. No matter who it was, no matter how strong their bloodline was, they could not take over the dominant position. After many generations of inheritance and dilution, the ancient spirit would only be a strand of remnant soul, not very strong. However, this situation was somewhat different for Xiao Chen. He breathed heavily and uncontrollably let out dragon roars, causing the entire room to tremble endlessly. Up on the roof, Yi Zifeng's forehead was already covered in sweat from suppressing the dragon roars. He was already injured in the first place. Now, blood leaked out of a corner of his lips, no longer as relaxed as he was at the start. The situation was indeed as Yi Zifeng expected. This junior brother's bloodline power was very extraordinary. This strengthened Yi Zifeng's resolve to suppress this dragon soul, and not expose its secrets. Once news of such a strange creature leaked out, it would attract the attention of the world prematurely. Who knew how many people would feel afraid? It was hard to imagine that Xiao Chen would have a chance to mature. He would definitely be killed by someone before he grew up. At this moment, Xiao Chen, who was in the cultivation room, felt conflicted, hesitating. He did not know whether to proceed to the end or not. Azure dragon scales already appeared on Xiao Chen's skin, flickering with a metallic luster. Such a situation made Xiao Chen even more worried. He became anxious and berserk, and his consciousness slowly blurred. It's over. Suddenly, Xiao Chen was horrified to discover that without his control, the savage blood soul summoning art had already started to circulate on its own. No matter what he did, he could not stop it. The blood flowing in Xiao Chen's limbs and bones continuously separated into bits of azure light, and surged to the top of his head. The faint figure of the dragon soul in the depths of his mind slowly became clearer. Xiao Chen's body slowly expanded, slowly occupying his soul. A formless swelling pain came from the depths of his soul, completely unstoppable. How can it be like this? His soul pool suddenly increased by 4 or 5 times. Yi Zifeng, who had been paying attention to Xiao Chen, revealed a doubtful expression, feeling extremely confused. Logically speaking, given Xiao Chen's cultivation, a casual movement of his soul pool would scatter his soul, turning his physical body into an empty shell. Am I going to die? Xiao Chen's consciousness slowly turned blurry, and his thoughts slowly turned empty. While he did not know what was going on, a pile of dragon humps grew out from his back. They were like sharp swords, spreading out in a perfectly straight line. Xiao Chen's hands turned incredibly sharp, and his entire body started to dragon. The situation slowly progressed toward the worst-case scenario. However, just as the situation was about to become completely out of his control, a voice suddenly rang out. Suddenly, a mysterious black pearl in the depths of Xiao Chen's soul released a large expanse of immortal light. Just as the dragon soul was about to erase Xiao Chen's soul, an uncontrollable suction force appeared. This created an uncontrollable suction force that incomparably arrogant and tyrannical ancient spirit. It swallowed the incomparably arrogant and tyrannical ancient spirit without revealing anything. At this moment, Xiaoqun fainted and did not see this strange scene. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.